I know you guys have all been here this morning, so you heard about Mission Possible, um, and a little bit about the friendship evangelism that I've been having a blast doing. I did want to read something to you, though. This comes from Christian Service. Remember, we talked about your first love this morning. When churches are revived, it is because some individual seeks earnestly for the blessing of God. He hungers and thirsts after God and asks in faith and receives accordingly. He goes to work in earnest, feeling his great dependence upon the Lord, and souls are aroused to seek a like blessing. And a season of refreshing falls on the hearts of the men and women, obviously. The extensive work will not be neglected. The larger plans will be laid at the right time, but personal, individual effort and interest for your friends and neighbors will accomplish much more than can be estimated. It is for the want of this kind of labor that souls for whom Christ died are perishing. We're talking about love here. EW is personal ministries leader at the conference, amongst many other things, but he calls this ministering personally. Not personal ministries, but ministering personally. So I told you some stories. I told you about our neighborhood and how we began adopting our neighborhood after COVID. And I understood at lunchtime that your church has had some major changes since COVID. And now you're trying to rebuild. So I'll be praying for you. Ministering personal has done amazing things for me and my family. It brings people into the church. They see the love that you have for God, and they want to know where you go to church. Our neighborhood has 25 houses, and everybody in every home knows who we are. We know their names. We know their animals' names, their dogs, their cats, their horses. When we walk twice a day down the road, we feed the horses, and the dogs come out and run and play with our dog that we're walking down the road. The people come out and talk to us. Generally, once a week or more, we have some kind of luscious dessert that we're passing out, or hugs or prayers or something. And it's all because we just have ministered personally to each one of these people in their homes. And we now have a neighborhood directory, so everybody knows everybody. And they were able to put whatever they want in the directory, their grandchildren's names, their ages, their birth dates. Our neighbors were like brothers and sisters. There's nothing that we wouldn't do for one another. In fact, here's a great story. We don't push who we are as far as Adventists. We don't push our religion. We don't push Jesus. We just reveal Jesus. And the light comes on and the darkness goes away. One day, we were giving cookies, and I had prayed about who I should give Steps to Christ book to. And I had about 6 of them, but we had cookies for everybody, we go to the doors. But like I said, I'm not trying to push anything. But I did, when we did pick out the people to give the books to, I felt the Holy Spirit say, put a marker in the privilege of prayer. And I thought, that's cool, because if we just have them read one chapter, once they open the book and read that chapter, they're going to be hooked. And so we're passing out the cookies. The few people got the book. I gave my John his book, and he said, get that book out of my home. Get that out of, it was like, like a curse or something to him. I don't want that book in my home. I don't want it. Anyway, I took the book out. I thought, whoa, I really messed that one up. And trying to figure out what to do, how to make amends, how to fix that breach. And one day John had to have hip surgery. It wasn't too long after that. And his yard got full of sticks and grass, and it was long, it was awful. And while he was recuperating, I called our church and asked the Pathfinders if they would come out and clean up his yard. And they came out to clean up his yard. And John has been more than a friend ever since. Someone in our neighborhood had a fire, and the man burned in the fire. We're trying to get our neighbors together for flower arrangements or something for the family. And John called me one night and he said, I want to come down. And so John comes down to the house and he pulls into our back driveway, and he called me and said, I'm in your driveway. And I walk out there and John's got money. Come to find out, he didn't even like the man that died. I just heard that yesterday from another neighbor, that he didn't even like the man. But John told me when he got out and hugged me that night, he said, Pam, I just want you to know I never do this for anybody. I would never do this for anybody. I just want you to know. But he said, I know that you love the Lord and that what you're doing is something that God has asked you to do, and I want to be a part of it. And from then on, John and I and our family are he's like the closest one in all of our neighborhood. Someday he's going to come to us and ask us, why do you know what do you know that I need to know? So when we plant a seed, we're not responsible for the growth. That's the Holy Spirit, and the Holy Spirit is working. There's so many stories that happen in our neighborhood. We had a tree almost come down in a storm. One of our neighbors, Jimmy, he cuts trees down and takes care of trees. It's called what's it called? What? Yes, that. And he's got a business. And so one day there was a storm, and we had a tree that was coming down. And I texted his wife and said, "Where's Jimmy?" And she called and she goes, "He's out. I mean, his crews are all out. Pam, there are zillions of storms, and there are branches, and there are electric lines, and there's stuff down all over the place, and his crews are incredibly busy. What's up?" And I said, "Well, I think we have a tree coming down on our porch. It's leaning. The more it rains, and she said, "Let me see if I can get a hold of Jimmy." And so, by the way, Jimmy was the one in the neighborhood that when you walked by his house at night, he was sitting on the back of his truck pickup tailgate drinking beer. Every time we go by, it's like, "Come on in, have a beer. Come on in, have a beer." And he seemed so gruff and mean at first, until we just started sort of inching in and talking to him a little bit, and night after night, he wasn't so bad at all. He knew that we were Christians, and he was just teasing us, So anyway, back to the story. So the tree's coming down, and his wife's trying to find Jimmy, and after she said, "I will try to get a hold of him," it was 10 minutes. The phone rang. It was Jimmy, and he said, "Pam, I'm sending a crew. I'm pulling a crew off of a job right now. I'm sending a crew, and they're coming over, and they'll take that tree down." So they came and they topped the tree. 2 days later, the whole crew came back again, and they cut the tree, carried it away, did whatever they were doing, and I'm in tears because, he saved our house. It was a big tree. And I said to him, "So how much do I owe you?" And he came and he put his arm around me and he said, "This is what we do for love." Tremendous tremendous things happen. Jimmy has now quit drinking. He's quit smoking. His wife and little girl are going to church. Jimmy's brought his children to some of our Mission Possible missions. So, and then speaking of Mission Possible, one of the missions, pastors got the whole all 52 of the special missions, the special agent missions, but one of the missions, it was about pumpkin spice. You were to make pumpkin spice, it's probably at Thanksgiving time, obviously, but you were to make pumpkin spice in a jar, and you were supposed to give it away, give it to someone. And we have, in our Sabbath school, we have a lady that has sweet family. A husband, wife, 3 children, very busy. And she said, Pam, I would do these things. This is just not me. She said, I'm thinking, the kids wanted to do this mission really bad. And she said, they want me to go to the neighbors. And she said, they're there, they live there, we live here, we do our thing, they do their thing, and we don't need to get mixed up, right? And she said, but my kids wanted to do this so bad, and they wanted to give it to the neighbor. She said, I couldn't figure out, why couldn't I take it to work and just give it to one of my work people, somebody I work with? That'd be so easy. So they make the pumpkin spice, take it over to the neighbors, knock on the door, and our friend from church is like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to get involved. But they're there. They're doing it. So the lady comes to the door, very, very happy. She's got her pumpkin spice in a jar. The next day, the lady comes back over to their house with a freshly baked pumpkin spice roll that she made from the pumpkin spice in a jar. Now these people, Brittany told us, she said, we do everything together. She said, she takes my kids to the park. She said, we and they, her family and their family do things together. They go out for a drive on Sunday. They're friends. They do everything. They look out after each other. It's the love that you show to people in your kindness. You can't outdo God in the kindness. Mission Possible is he makes special agents for Jesus, and we all need to be that, from 2 to 102. We need to be what Jesus created us to be. He's our first love, and you guys, we're planting seeds, and once you walk into a place with Jesus in your heart, the darkness goes away, and people see, they're drawn to you. We had another lady. I was headed to church one day because I was personal ministries leader at our church, and there was road crews working, and we got stopped, and I pulled over to the edge of the road where one of the flagmen was. And when I was ready to go, I just rolled my window down and moved the car over just a little bit, and I had one of my tracts, and I handed it to him, and he took the tract, and we rolled on by, and a lady from the church immediately texted me, and she said, I was just behind you. I saw what you did. And she said, moreover, my kids are in the car, and they saw what you did. And she said, you just can't imagine how much of a witness that was to my family. They're just one thing after, one more thing, EW. I showed you guys about shirts. I was wearing this one day, and my husband and I were out for outing. We stopped at a convenience store for something. I don't know what it was. That's immaterial. I walk in the store, and the lady I could see that was behind the counter started to cry. And I started to go do what I was going to do, but I looked back at her, and it's like, she's crying. So I go to the counter, and I said, ma'am, are you okay? And she said, that shirt. You have no idea how my life is falling apart right now. And you walk in with a shirt like that says that God's got this. And she cried, I cried. People are lining up behind me, and I asked her if I could pray with her. We prayed at the counter in front of all of these people, and all of these people were praying too. I was able to hand her a Christian tract. And you guys, you can't outdo God. Carry tracts around with you. Carry the little Jesuses around with you. Call the office. They've got ideas. Call and I'll come and we'll talk. But do something. Be the light, because Jesus is coming, like E.W. said. And if we're not doing it, we don't have Jesus in our heart either.
You can also invite her back and she'll give you a whole afternoon or something. Folks, truthfully, I mean, it's just being yourself.
Melissa's cards are all on the table, so they can grab it.
Okay, yeah, okay. The Mission Possible cards are on the table, okay? And I'm going to hand this to Ruth because I think I should be on the, am I on? Do I sound like I'm on? Okay, good. Okay. Ruth's going to be helping me. What's on the screen, you can see. And I messed up and I had handouts for everybody, but I went off and left it sitting on the ground, I think at home. And so I will leave these three and y'all can run off some copies for people if you don't mind. All of what's in here is what we're going to be showing up on the screen, okay? All right. As I told you this morning, let's go ahead now. Can you go ahead and let's click to the first picture? And this should be, can you read? There you go.
This is 3 John.
Yeah.
3 John.
Yeah, read it loud.
Okay.
Hold your.
This is 3 John.
Verse 2.
Verse 2. Beloved, I wish above all things that thou mayest prosper and be in health, even as thy soul prospereth.
Yeah, very good. Okay, go to the next picture. She's trying to do two things here, so she'll get it in a minute.
Towards where? Oh, towards that? No.
While she's doing that, let me say, it's okay. Let me go ahead and say something here anyway I need to say. I have served on the North American Division Committee for about 25 years. The reason I say that, there are a number of acronyms out there in regards to health. You've probably heard of Creation Health. That's from Florida Conference. Celebrations is another one, I think, from the North American Division. And what they've done, they've added words like C for choice or S for social. I understand all that, but when I'm in a church where we've got limited time, I feel like I have to focus on the biggest situations. You follow what I'm saying? So I focus on heart disease, type 2 diabetes, and a healthy immune system. And if you apply diet and exercise to those things, it's pretty well going to take care of a lot of other issues too. Some things they still don't know about, what maybe to do about something. But anyway, so I use the New Start acronym. I have nothing to do with Weimar, but that's just, I like the fact that it starts with nutrition, exercise, and water. Let me say something about water. I mentioned it this morning, and when you get your handouts, there'll be a lot more on that. And as I said, I'm going to leave 3 here. They can run off or something for you. But we need, everything we do is habit, folks. It really is. Either we're in a habit of drinking water spread out during the day, or we're taking it all at morning and none the rest of the day, or whatever. So we're talking here about a habit in everything, and that maybe starts with prayer and Bible study and those kind of things. All right, let's go ahead to the next picture.
Okay, this is from Ministry of Healing.
Yeah.
Pure air, sunlight. All right, who's going to tackle that word? Thank you. Rest, exercise, and proper diet. The use of water, Trust in divine power. These are the true remedies.
So that's what we're talking about, these natural things. And I will apologize because I think I asked you to read, but I didn't see. So. Okay, let's go to the next picture. And what we're going to do is we're going to start talking about exercise in relation to heart disease. First of all, it's the number one killer, as we've already said. Go ahead to the picture.
I'm trying. I'm pointing.
Can y'all help her there? What's going on the change?
Wait a minute. Back up. There we go. Okay.
Go ahead to the next picture.
There you go.
One more. Okay. The picture on the extreme left of that would be the comparison. And I can use 2 or 3 tests that are very similar to this. There was a test done at Baltimore, Maryland. And all of these tests basically showed what you're looking up here. And that is that if a person is in a regular physical exercise program in relation to heart disease, okay? If a person, what they're basically saying is spend a certain amount of time during the week. I know we used to use 10,000 steps. People said that didn't work. It does work, but I'll tell you why people can keep confusion over it. The average lady, when they walk, takes a 2-foot stride. My feet happen to be exactly a foot long. So a lady on a normal stride, when you're not in a hurry, this is about the stride you'll be taking, okay? Men's is a little bit more. I think it's about 2.5. Mine, because I take much bigger steps. When I'm walking and in a hurry, I'm taking steps like this, just about like I'm running. All right, that is a 3.3 stride. So for every step ladies take, I'm taking 1.7 miles to her 1 mile. Oh, wow. Is what that averages up. Because think, a mile is 5,280 feet. So when you've walked half of 5,280 feet, you've already walked a mile. Are you following it? Because you're cutting it in half if you're dividing it by 2 women's stride. So in my case, that's why I'm walking a little farther. Now, look at that test result. And you'll notice the big difference between the one on the extreme right and somebody that's doing nothing. Another way to say it on these tests, that if you do 30 minutes a day, and I'm going to explain that 30 minutes a day, if you add some effort to it. Now, what does that mean? Well, if you're starting out, and I'm going to talk about this, if you're not in a regular walking program, then you want to start out slowly. Okay, and taking deep breaths slowly. Now, if you get through walking and you're going, you're going too fast or too far. Okay? And what's going to happen is you say, I'll never do that again. So you just quit. So what you want to do is start nice and slow and maybe walk. And this is interesting. As I said, I go all the way back to a college degree on health and on the physical part of it. And so I naturally have always been in exercise and sports and all kind of things. I was a former coach in public school and had a coach to coach in college basketball. But the Lord had other things for me. I refused to coach on Sabbath. I told them that. So they said, well, they couldn't hire me then. And the point is, you can, this is hard to believe, that you can break it up. I mean, one of my sons said, Dad, because I used to go run 5 or 6 miles. I just loved running. I really did. But I was holding evangelism meetings in India, and they wanted me to demonstrate a karate kick, and I tripped and fell and messed up my meniscus. Later, I was running and tripped and fell, so now I can't run, which is a good thing, I guess. So now I walk, and I walk pretty fast. But my son said when I was running, Dad, break up your speeds. It's better for you. In other words, I would go and start just running around the streets here, same pace, 5 miles, okay. And what I found out was if I ran 100 yards as fast as I could run and then either walk back or jog back, that actually works better. And I find this one hard to believe, that you do 10 minutes this morning, 10 minutes this afternoon, and 10 minutes this evening. So the point is, you can break it up. And if you've never done anything, I suggest it easy. Now, I'm going to say this, ladies, don't throw anything at me. But a lot of the ladies obviously can't go out in some of these places by themselves, so it's usually they go together. And I know what they do. They walk and talk, which is fine socially. But you need to be concentrating on your breathing. Understand? So what I'm going to do right now, we're going to take your pulse. Do I have somebody that could kind of take 30 seconds or something and give us a time? I want everybody to find your pulse. You can use your fingers on your wrist. You can find it in your neck, or you can hunt it under your arm. I want you to find what your resting pulse rate would be right now. Now, the fact you just ate, got through eating, it would be a little faster. Understand? So if some of you already know what your resting pulse rate is, it's just somebody that already knows. Do you already know what yours is? Okay, then you time us. Can you give us 30 seconds? You need my watch.
Yeah.
I could give you a phone or something if you wanted to, if that's easier.
No, this is fine.
Okay, you can actually see. That's a good thing. Okay. I couldn't see it. So when she says ready, go, then just close your eyes and count till she tells you to stop. It'll be just 30 seconds, okay?
Ready, go. Stop.
Okay, double that in your mind. If it's 30, it's 60. If it's 40, it's 80. Whatever. The average for men is 73. Average for ladies is 80, okay? So, if your pulse rate is naturally slower, from a heart standpoint, that's probably a good thing. Of course, blood pressure is another factor in some of these things. But I was in a prison the other night, one of them tasted, and it was like his was 90 or something. Now, you may have just eaten. There may be other factors. So you need to know eventually what your resting pulse rate generally is. And what I suggest is that you only increase it a little bit, okay? Now, I'm going to help you a little bit because we've got a chart here. Could you come up? And this is based on research that would be, if I got it up? Yeah, we got it, okay. Okay, now this is by age, okay? You don't necessarily have to see it, but you can read it. Let's just start with what age is that?
That's 30.
All right. What they suggest, and this is based on research, for the average person, then those would be the safe training zones, which would be 162
and 133.
Okay. So that means when you get through exercising, you could check, that would be your goal. But don't start out with that goal. Like I said, if your resting pulse rate is 80 or 90, then why don't you just walk a little bit so maybe it's 100 or 105. That way you say, hey, I feel good. I'm ready to go again next time. See what I'm saying? Age is 40. What's the recommendation?
126 and 153.
You can see it's coming down, okay?
50 is 119 to 145.
60
is 112 to 136.
70
105 to 128.
Is that it?
And then 80 is 97 to 119.
Okay. Very good. So that gives you the point is you need a target, okay? Folks, I think I know the average situation. We work, we have to fool with kids, grandkids, we got to do all these things. If you're married, you may have to be the cook in the house, or you may have to do this, you may have to do that, okay? If you do not develop a schedule, you probably won't do it. Are you following me? You need to be able to do it at the same time, probably every day. It's probably hard if you work to do it in the morning, unless you get up earlier. And then we talk about reading your Bible and praying before you go. So you see, you got to have a schedule. So what are you going to cut out? Well, if you get up at 7, you got to be at work at 8, you may not do either one. And folks, we have to plan ahead and try to go to bed earlier or whatever so you can do what you want to do. I know what happens. We're all human. I've had the same situation. Or we get up in the morning and say, I just don't feel like doing that today. Well, you got to be careful with that one. And, you need a regular routine. Now, keep in mind that Satan would love for us to do nothing and let our body just go any old way. So I would pray about it and having a really solid plan. Are you following me? And do the best you can to follow it. Certainly there's going to be days you can't go walk if it's storming or whatever. You understand what I'm saying? Okay. But did you notice on the chart that was up there, and I guess it's still there? Okay. What they eventually found out, that if you do this on a regular basis, like I told you, either 10,000 steps or 30 minutes a day, at least 5 days out of 7, you can lower your chance, almost cut heart disease in half, if you see that figure up there. Matter of fact, it says if you do it with some effort, you could go all the way down to 41%. That's a 59% chance to improve having a heart attack. Now, there's other factors, but we're talking right now about your heart and strengthening your lungs. Now, if you've not done anything, you've got to check with your doctor first before you get into any program, especially if you're over 40. I had a cousin that died at 33 with a heart attack. All these things can happen, but, and again, the big thing is come away feeling good. I really want to feel good, and I feel better when I get through. Now, what I do sometimes at the conference office, if I get there really early, I go and walk, which by the time I go down, and there's 2 ways you can go down at the end, I can get in a mile, pretty quick there. And then maybe again after lunch. I'm going to come back to that after lunch later. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Now, there are other factors. This one has to do with, I'm going to have to watch my chart because I can barely see it's up there. I think it's the one. This is on waist girth. We don't like to talk about that. But I'll show you what the test shows. No, I'm sorry. This is the wrong one. This one, which test is this? Mortality rate. Oh, yeah, the mortality rate. Okay, for men. Look at this. Today, there will be 12.4 men with non-accidental deaths that die with a heart attack, okay? With a regular program, notice, there it is, cutting it more than half. Just with a regular, like I told you, maybe if you can't do it 5 days, it might be 3 or 4 days, but as long as you get it, some kinds of. But look at the one, ladies, look at this. You could almost cut out heart attacks. Today, non-accidental deaths, there'll be 9% heart attacks. Look at that. With a regular exercise, aerobic exercise, you could cut it to 2.9. Look at that. Compared to the men's 12.4 at the bad end. Look how what you can do. Are you following me? Yes.
So what's the difference between the active and the moderate? So when you say, okay, active physical activity.
Very good. Good question. Very good question. I mentioned it this morning. I already said it indirectly. Start out calmly. In other words, I'm just walking. I'm concentrating on my breathing. Now, I should be concentrating on deep breathing. That's why I don't like this idea of people talking while they're walking, because you're and when and think, like, take a deep breath. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. While we're on this, I'm going to do it anyway, so let's just do it right now. Everybody stand up, and if you can't, some of you can't do this, I understand it. We're going to walk around this way right here, around all the way around the chairs. Now, hold up a minute, because I don't want you to walk. We're going to go this way. Just fall in line in a minute. Hold it. I'm not through the directions. Now, normally, we walk this way. One arm comes this way, and then we walk in balance, okay? Nobody walks like this. None of us walk like that. Somewhere along the way, we learn to walk. But if you're not in good shape, then minimize your arm movements. Now, when I go walk, and I'm walking fast, I'm not just walking. I'm moving my arms just like this right here. See, I'm really moving. I'm going. I'm ready to go. But don't start out that way. So we're going to follow whoever's around here. Just lead the way around and be thinking. Hold it. Take deep breaths and slow and breathe out through your lips, okay? Remember how to deep? Okay, go ahead. Everybody that can walk, here we go. Not too, whoa, slow down. Minimize your arm movements. Spread out a little bit. Don't run over each other. Now, if you're real fast and in good shape, you can go around people. That's okay. Think about your breathing. Think about your breathing. Think about deep breathing. Breathing out. Y'all can do that while you're sitting. Take some deep breaths slowly. Fill up your lungs. Come back around one time is all we're going. And sit back down, okay? Now, very good. I don't hear anybody falling over or passing out. But generally, if you go and you get through, and like I said, you're gasping for air, it would have been too fast. But was that too much right there? Was that a good example? Okay, imagine if you did that regularly. But again, think deep breathing, okay? Filling up your lungs like we talked about. All right. Any questions? If not, we're moving forward. Let's go to the next slide. Ruth, next slide. Oh, okay, this one is the one we talked about, but I want to show you something very interesting about that. This is the test, and notice what it says is the number one factor up there. What does it say? Low fitness. Look what's number 2.
Yes, that's one. Low fitness. Okay. And then
Smoker.
Yeah, look at that.
blood pressure.
All right, well, we'll just stop right there. And then it lists other things. Seventh-day Adventists generally say, oh, smoking is the worst thing out there. Folks, this was done with 35,000 men and 6,000 women. That's 42,000. That's a pretty good sized study. And they discovered that the biggest factor was actually low fitness instead of smoking. And I usually say it this way. A good Seventh-day Adventist, well, let's just say it this way. A good Seventh-day Adventist is worse off than a person that smokes but exercises, and you're not exercising. A Seventh-day Adventist not at walking, a person smoking it is, are better off, according to your heart, according to this 42,000 people. Now, obviously, what?
The overweight, why? I don't understand why the overweight wouldn't do
Well,
over the low fitness.
those are all factors. The things that follow that are things we're going to talk about in a few minutes. Overweight, high cholesterol, all these other things. They are all factors, and they're not a big difference, you can see. They are all factors. And what's really bad, of course, is when a person smokes and then has some of these other factors. But we as Seventh-day Adventists sometimes have some of these multiple factors also. Now, don't forget what I said this morning. I don't want anybody to feel guilty, because we can do everything right and still get sick and die. You know what I'm saying? All we can do is the best we can do. Okay, let's go ahead quickly to the next slide. And this is the one I was going to mention as far as the waist girth. This is the one we immediately hold in our stomach. Notice the difference, men. 39-inch to 35-inch, 4-inch difference. Double chance for a heart attack if that stomach alone is 39 inches compared to 35. That's, again, based on 42,000, it'd be 35,000 men. So the waist girth is a factor, okay? Now, ladies, watch this, ladies. It's next picture. It's still 4 inches, 37 to 33, but look what it says. What does it say? Triple chance for a heart attack. So the ladies' waist girth is actually a little worse than men's. And I honestly do not know the factors behind this test, but that's exactly what it shows. All right, so these are just factors. What's the next slide up there? What is this one?
Hang on, this one here's a girth, it won't do it again.
Oh, okay.
There we go.
Go ahead past these slides. Go ahead, we're going to go forward. Okay, all right, what we're going to do is stop right here now. Okay, so what I talked about here was thinking about what we talked about this morning. Strengthen not just your heart, but your lungs, okay? Because your body system, the whole factor of breathing and your lungs and all this is a system. And obviously you can see the improvement. And I'm going to repeat what I said this morning. Most of the deaths during the COVID era have come from poor lung conditions. And sometimes we think we're in pretty good shape and maybe we don't know. Again, I insist, folks, if you're 40 years old or older, I think you should have, even younger, a physical exam every 2 years. Because some of these things, you know, I see people that are 50, 60, 70 and never had any kind of test, and all of a sudden something happens. So keep that in mind, all right? We're going to switch over now and talk about the factor in all this, and that is your muscles, okay? We've got our bodies covered in muscles, okay? God made them so we can do things like walk. For example, we have 3 muscles in our thigh, one on each side and one in the middle, okay? And Why are they there? Well, when they contract, they actually pull your leg forward. They pull your leg forward. Okay, we've got muscles in our arms. Biceps, there's 2 muscles right here. There's 3 on the back of your arm. Okay? Biceps and triceps. God's made them so you can actually hold your arm. You can do things. But what happens as we get older? Folks, they can and they will weaken. We used to own a nursing home. My mother started a nursing home, and we eventually took that over, and eventually, didn't have it anymore. But we would see people come to the nursing home, and they just was not able to do anything anymore. And so if there's any way possible, and so I'm wanting to take my coat off, but I've got this thing here in here. So I want to talk about this. We need to set a goal of helping do something about your muscles, okay? And the way that happens is by actually using your muscles. So let's start out by talking about your biceps, okay? What I do, and I'm 84, I work with 25 and 50-pound dumbbells 3 days a week. Now, why do I alter those muscles? Why do I alter those days? Because how does your muscles get stronger? And if you went today and next day it's tired and weak, but you give it a day's rest and it'll grow back a little bit. That's how you get gradually stronger. It doesn't happen the first time you do it. If you can't even move a 50-pound dumbbell weight, you think 2 days later you can just pick it up. But over a period of time, it will gradually get. Now, the older you get, the harder it is. All right. I got to do something different here. I got to take my coat off. Let's see what I can do with this thing. I don't know what I can do with it. I guess I can put it in my pocket. Let's do that. Okay, stand up. More exercise coming. Make sure I'm not hooked up on something here.
Yeah, you lost your comb out of there.
Okay, well, I don't need it much anyway. So. Thank you. Okay. All right. Now, folks, y'all can do some of this right here, okay? Even if you're in a wheelchair. All right, we're going to lift. Where's the pastor? You don't come up here real quick?
Your turn.
Real quick is the word. No. Okay, now, I turn this way. We're going to act like you got some pretty good muscles. Wow, I'm impressed. I better watch myself here. Okay, I'm going to act like he's an automobile, and he's blocking the door out here, right in front. He's stopped real close to the door. Nobody can get her in and out, and I'm the only person out there to push that car out of the road. How am I going to do it? Am I going to take a deep breath and breathe in and push it out, or how am I going to do that? Am I going to take a breath like this? What am I going to do? That's exactly right. I'm going to push out. I'm going to go, push out. Thank you, sir. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to act like you've got a weight in your hand, okay? You're going to take a deep breath as you go up with that weight, okay? You're going to go, and then breathe out as you go down. Are you breathing deeply? Okay, you may have to hold on to the chair. If you're not used to that, you may get dizzy real quick. See what I'm saying? Because you're actually helping your lungs at the same time you're helping your muscles. So all you got to do is maybe do that 10 times, maybe 2 or 3 sets of 10, okay? And all I tell people is start with something more than a piece of paper, okay? I mean, find a can of beans if it has to be. It's something more than just your arms. And maybe you get a 1 or 2 pound dumbbell, and then you can get a 5 and get a 10. Now, sometimes, folks, these are things you don't have to go to some weightlifting place. You can do these things. I mean, I literally keep my 25 and 50-pound dumbbells right under my bed. When it's time to do that, I pray. I don't mean so I can lift the dumbbells, but maybe I... Okay, but there's more to it. There's other things you can do. Now, in the papers that I forgot to bring, and they'll run it off, can show you some of these things you can do. For example, push-ups, okay? Now, push-ups will also strengthen your triceps, okay? You want to feel my arm and tell them what you feel?
It's muscle.
Thank you. Okay, that happens because I do 150 push-ups a week. I do 35 days Or if I take off one day, usually not counting Sabbath, okay? But I try to make sure I get in there. Now, you don't start out with 30 on a day. See if you can do one. Now, if you have to, if you can do them on your knees. I don't care how you do it. Do it on knees, see if you can do one. If you can do one, eventually you can do two. But don't try to be a hero and say, I'm going to do 30, like, you know. Again, you may come away saying, I'll never do that again. Now, of course, there's also ways you can lift on things in all kind of ways. Biceps, triceps, and muscles. All right. Now, the legs you got to be careful of. We all know injuries. I mean, especially knees. I'm going to say this because it's important. The sports world. When I first started coaching back in 1965, I was coaching in public school. I couldn't believe they brought kids in. I'm talking about first, second, third graders, teaching them how to play football at 7 or 8 o'clock at night. Now, all these communities have different sports programs. And each community likes to say theirs is better than the next town's, okay? And then they have sports teams, girls softball, guys baseball, and they like to say that Gainesville's recreational program is better than Jasper's is down the road or whatever, understand? But what's happened is, and some of you know this if you're in the medical field, your growth plate for kids is not ready at 12, 13, and 14 years old for some of the stuff that they're doing. They are now putting these kids through weightlifting so they can be bigger and stronger and make their junior high program better and then make the high school program better. Now, how many of you know anything about baseball? Keep standing. I got you standing for a reason so you'll stay awake. Folks, how many of you follow baseball? All right, injuries all over the place. When I was a kid, I was told, do not try to throw a curveball. Well, when you throw a ball and your arm comes over, to throw a curve, you have to spin the ball, so you twist your arm like that. If you throw a fastball, it's straight, okay? So what do you think you're doing? A kid's growth plate is not even ready to start twisting it and everything. So what's happening is you're seeing injuries all over the place now in sports. And I blame it on schools and community centers letting kids do all these things at an early age. All right. On the legs, I would be very careful about any kind of deep knee bends or anything. One thing you can do also with your arms, if you can't do push-ups, is lean against a wall and just see if you can hold it for 10 seconds or 15 seconds or something like that, okay? All right, you can sit down for a second, Now, the other part, the next thing besides exercising your muscles and getting them stronger, most of us realize that muscles are fastened from bones to muscles, from bones to bones. For example, your biceps are tied in at your scapula and down here with the humerus. Why? God's made it like a hinge so you can actually lift. If he didn't do that, you would have to lift this way, or if there was nothing else, you couldn't even lift. You see what I'm saying? But he's made it with very easily with tendons and ligaments. Now, the tendons are bones to muscles, and ligaments may be muscles to muscles, but the point is, they're just as critical. Now, I just talked to you about strengthening your muscles, but now I'm going to bring in the next part up here under, and we don't even have to see it. It's called flexibility, and that's the tendons and the ligaments, okay? And if you do not do, and we used to call it stretching, all right? I want to ask you a question. If I put a rubber band in a freezer and pull it out in the morning, what's going to happen to it? It's going to snap in two, isn't it? So what that tells you is that the body operates best off of some heat. So if you jump out of a freezer after sleeping in a freezer all night and trying to move around the next morning, you're more susceptible at pulling these tendons or these ligaments. So my question is, and it's supposed to be a trick question, but I've already given it away, would it be best to do heavy stretching before or after exercise? How many think it's before? How many think it's after? How many aren't thinking? That's just what I thought. Okay, I saw one hand go, okay, what did I just say? If a rubber band is made out of fiber and it's solid ice, it's going to snap right in two when you pull it. So my point is, you're not going to be sleeping in a freezer. I know that. But my point is, you do move around, And that way, then you've created some heat, which means your muscles are more supple or more flexible, okay? All right, after all that, let's stand up again, because now we're going to talk about some ways to stretch. Come on, here we go. Now, stretching normally, most people like to see if they can touch their toes. We're not talking about that. Now, what you're doing here is you're stretching the tendons and ligaments in the back of your leg. Now, you might be able to go all the way to the floor, but that's, you're going to try to stretch, okay? Think about other stretches, okay? Let's say that you want to stretch your arms. A lot of people stretch in the morning, they do this. What are they doing? Okay, come up. Okay, come down behind your head. Now just hold it. Anytime you're stretching, you normally would hold it 5 or 10 seconds, okay? For now, I'm kind of speeding up a little bit. All right, now you can, after I do my push-ups and sit-ups, and on sit-ups, I do 100. So I do 300 sit-ups a week. That's to strengthen this muscle, the rectus abdominis, okay? And you may not be able to do 300, but you can start out with 1. On the sit-ups, as you learned in school a long time ago, they probably had you bend your knees, and you either had your hands there, or in the modern era, they moved your hands this way. If you can't do one that way, then you can straighten your legs and then make it a lot easier, and then you can just come straight up that way, okay? Or you can stand somewhere and tighten your stomach. I don't care what you do, but the point is you need to think about all your muscles, keep them in good shape, okay? All right, so back to the stretching. All right, now we were here. Okay, you can come over this way. Now you're stretching the opposite sides, what you're doing, see? And you'd hold it 5 or 10 seconds over this way. All right, I'm just showing you some different things to do. Now this time, what I'm going to do, and I would do it more this way so you don't hit somebody, or you're going to turn slowly. Don't move your feet. Be very careful here. You can hurt your legs, okay? No, don't swing. We're going to do it and hold. Okay? Be careful here because you're twisting your knees. Stop. Go only as far as you can. Now, I'm looking the opposite direction. I'm holding it for 5 to 10 seconds, and I go the same way. I do this after I do my sit-ups and push-ups, and I'm just doing these different kinds of stretches. Then you can do all kinds of stretches. You can do this, tendons and ligaments. You're just stretching. Think about your neck. You can lay your head over on the side. You're stretching the opposite side. You may have pain in the neck. A lot of people say, I am a pain in the neck to them. You know what I mean? So stretch this side. All right, now watch. This time I'm turning and looking to the side and holding my head up. I'm stretching still in a different way. But this time I'm going to go all the way around and try to look, stretching even more. Okay, come back. Now this time I may do it this way. I may lay my head over on my shoulder. See what I'm saying? Take all these things seriously. And then you'll be more flexible as you get older. I'm just telling you, it works this way. And so I'm just showing you different kinds of things. And for the sake of time, I'm just, showing you this. Okay, you can sit back down. Okay. What did I do with my watch? What time is it?
It is exactly 3 o'clock.
Okay, exactly 3 o'clock. All right, we're doing really well. And so what I'm going to, in just a moment, we normally take a little break. If we do it, it'd be more than about 5 minutes. But I am trying to catch up on time and so forth. But when we talk about exercise, we've talked about breathing, we've talked about the heart. Now let's talk about type 2 diabetes a moment. Let's go to the next picture. I think there is another slide I need to show up here.
That's aerobic.
But just go forward. These are the muscles we had. Keep going. Yeah, right here.
Okay.
This test was done by Harvard Medical School. We're going to see it twice. What they found out was, in regard to diabetes, now we're talking about type 2 diabetes here, that if you walk, hear me, well, let me go a little slower, make sure everybody understands what we're talking about on diabetes, okay? Folks, we understand sugar, fat, and some other things, okay? But what our body has to have is fiber. And we're going to see that in a few minutes when we talk about type 2 diabetes. Now, we usually think of sugar only, but there's also starches, okay? Sugars, starches. Now, either way, what they found out at Harvard was that if you walk for 30 minutes after a meal, it will literally bring the level back down to where it was or below. So ideally, it's good to walk after. Now, we don't do that normally here in our meetings. I understand that, but you understand time. I do generally ask people to take a little bit of walking outside, but we're not going to do that today. Okay. So from diabetes standpoint, again, this is extremely important activity. God made us for movement, and we need to do the best we can. Now, as we get older, there are different reasons sometimes we cannot do the same thing. And we just have to adjust, you understand, whatever we can do. Now, like if you're in a wheelchair, it probably comes back to your arms and maybe your fingers and things that you can do in, any kind of little movement. Any kind of little movement can help the best you can do, okay? So before we finish up on this, are there any questions about exercise? How many of you will at least think about a regular aerobic exercise in walking? That's my first question. That's all I can ask you to do is think about it. And that probably means pray about it. How many will think about something to work and strengthen your muscles? How many will, see, I know there's not as many hands there. Folks, I'm just telling you as you get older. How old am I? I'm 84, okay? I keep saying, there's days I just don't want to do. Like tomorrow morning will be a day for my weightlifting and push-ups, and I do it the same day. And but I know that if I say, I'll take off today. Okay, my next day's Tuesday. I think I'll take off Tuesday. It won't hurt me. What do you think is going to happen? Eventually, I'm going to have to go back to something less than 25 or 50 pounds because our muscles will weaken naturally as they get older. So are there any questions before we do something else? Yes.
My question is, you mentioned you do certain things on certain days. How would you suggest we break that up?
I'm sorry?
You said you do certain things on certain days.
Yeah.
How would we break that up?
Well, okay, that's up to you.
Flexibility every day.
Okay. Well, I tie the flexibility in because I just said that the biggest stretching is after exercise. Now, I realize athletes, you hear them talking about stretching before. Well, sure, because they've not been doing anything and they're fixing to be doing everything else, so they're naturally going to do it. But what we're talking about, if you have a coach and you go to the gym to work out, what they're going to talk to you, you may do a few simple, if you've not been doing anything, it's back to jumping out of the freezer. You've been doing something during the day. You've been walking and movement. So it's not likely that you've been inactive. So it might not be necessary. But if you've not been doing anything, you can do some stretching before you start. But what I was talking about was deep stretching where you really hold it for a period of time. And I do that stretching after I do push-ups and sit-ups or weightlifting. I do the strength training and the flexibility at the same time. Now, there are some other stretching you can do. I find out, believe it or not, at my age, I still play golf. I haven't played in a long time, but and I'm legally blind. I've already told somebody about the stories about me playing with the guys from the office at Southern Union meetings, and I hit somebody with a ball. Well, it was the last hole. They usually say EW lineup to hit that way, and they were talking. I thought, I think I'll just hit, and it hit the guy there. I mean, it could have been serious. The funnier part about that was the next year at a meeting in Chattanooga, we're playing, and we're getting ready to play, and this man walks up and says, "You know who I am?" And I said, "No, who are you?" He said, "I'm the guy you hit. I don't want to make sure I'm out in front of you today." The reason I tell you that I actually, even though I'm seriously legally blind, I do actually practice stretching with my golf swing. For example, when I come back, I actually hold it. If you can see, my left knee is bent in. You see what I'm saying? My body's twisted. So if I'm getting out of the freezer and I'm ready to play golf, I'm going, I can hardly move. You see what I'm saying? So that flexibility comes in so that when I'm ready, I can swing hard as I want to swing. And notice that, I'm not advertising golf on Sabbath, but I'm just telling you the technicality. Watch my legs as they kind of lead through. I come right here, and look what I'm doing. I'm stretching out with my arms right now. And then I twist my body around, and I'm facing where it went. So that I'd actually use that for kind of just as stretching. So any other questions? Yes.
For the exercise, you said 30 minutes after eating at every meal or just once a day?
I'm telling you what the test showed. That anytime you walk after a meal, if you've had sugars or starches, basically what they're saying, because they're talking about diabetes. If it was all meat, it probably wouldn't be the same factor.
What if you don't have 30 minutes of your work?
Well, that goes back to what, I guess do whatever you could, maybe. I didn't see any breakdown on this. The test I saw was it just said 30 minutes. It didn't say 10 or 15, but So it's just, I think, I can understand that a little bit. I try to do that at the conference office too, when I can, but you can't do it. Now, some of these things, if you still work, you got to fit it in when you can. So, any other questions? Okay.
I'm 92.
Okay.
Have had multiple sclerosis for 37 years.
Okay.
And is it too late for me to figure out how to deal with this?
No, you need to talk to a doctor or somebody if it's got something to do with technical things. Is that what you're talking about, like buttons or something?
No, it doesn't. If I can,
Oh.
but I can't sit up straight very long.
Yeah. Okay. I'd rather a doctor or somebody advise you on that. Okay. You know what I'm saying? I mean, any type of thing that you do is better than nothing. You know, but you would be limited for sure. But I would rather you check let your doctors advise that. Yeah, I have to be careful, folks. I'm going to deviate a second because do y'all have a health leader in your church here?
No.
Okay. Keep in mind that some of the programs we do in our churches, for example, one thing we advertise that churches do, I know the Bristol, Virginia church, which is in our conference, right across the line, they do the best kids fun day that I've ever seen. We used to call it Let's Move Day. And they do great. I was with them earlier this year, and it brings in kids from the community. Now, you couldn't do it here, but you could rent a place in Chattanooga, in Gainesville Park or anything. Lenore City used to do a big one there outside of Knoxville. And what would happen? The University of Knoxville would send their athletes over there. They'd have hundreds of kids come out. Athens, Georgia did one where they brought a girl from Atlanta that had been a gold medal winner in the track and field. And that was the largest one I've been to, I guess. And the reason I say that, there's certain things you got to be careful of. For example, Bristol had been doing a wall climbing where kids climb a wall. And when I got up there and they brought this company in and it was parked on asphalt, I thought, well, what if a kid falls? Risk management, the insurance that covers all of our churches in this conference. And I meant to bring some sheets, and I may have one here. If not, I'll send it to the pastor and remind me to do that, Juan, because we got to make sure that whatever we're doing, we're not doing something that risk management would not cover. If you bring in a kids' fun day and you've got to bring this company in that does it, then you have to get your own insurance. Now, an example, something that happened just recently. How many of you have ever heard of Amen, the Amen group? Amen is where they come in medically and they do all kind of health testing, all of Gainesville, okay? It costs a lot of money. It's pretty expensive. I think it's $20,000 or something. But it's really effective because they'll do all kind of tests for people out there in the community. I mean, really tests. But yet, we recently had a church in this conference that paid for them to come, but they forgot something. Amen insures their people. But if you're helping in any way, then the church has to make sure you're covered. And that could be anything from signing people in, because you could have a person make a mistake on blood pressure or something, you made an error, and you know what I'm saying. They had a heart attack, and you put down they were in great shape. The church has to have insurance. The conference had to step in with this church because they forgot that they needed to get their own, and they were going to lose this $20,000. So all I'm saying is, know the rules and try to follow them, okay, as far as the church is concerned. Okay, any more questions? If not, you want to step out? Do y'all want to take a 5-minute break? And then we're going to switch over to nutrition. Yes, question.
What I'm going to tell you is that walking after eating, I remember Michael Park. I don't know if you knew Michael Park.
Yeah.
Yeah, always after he ate, he was walking.
Yeah. It's kind of a natural thing, because think of the digestive system. It involves energy, okay? And if you just go lie down, in other words, what I talked about this morning was to try to get us to see how energy is a factor with all of your body, digestive system, not just the heart, all these systems. Okay, if you want to take about a 5-minute break, then we're going to go to switch. Now, I hope you don't leave, because we are going to talk about nutritional factor in these diseases. But I'm going to show you a video at the end. The guy is not a Seventh-day Adventist. And the reason I'm doing this is that sometimes we say, well, this is Seventh-day Adventist, and this person's not even a doctor, and he's saying something about it. Well, what we're going to find out is that there are scientific reasons why some of these food and things cause problems, okay? And this guy, you'll see it, and so I hope you're able to stay by, okay? And then the books and magazines, look at those right now, but please don't take. I normally have a drawing, that's why I gave you those. And somebody, and I'm not getting fussing at you because nobody told you, but somebody took the one I had on exercise. And if you don't mind, that's one of those that we need to draw on, because if you got it, I'm sorry, just put it back and then maybe you'll still get it, okay? But let's take about 5 minutes, go get some water, bathroom, whatever, or just walk around or look at the books and magazines. Spiritual things on this end and health on this side. Just don't take, just look.
I didn't get a ticket.
What? Oh, she'll give you one. Is there anybody out there anywhere? We've got a lot of stuff, but people, I can't find them. This is, I think she was outside on the phone, it looked like. Okay, just for a moment, an advertisement here. This is 5 pounds right here. 5 pounds of fat. 1 pound of fat. And we'll look at some of these other modules. I want to say something about this book right here first. If you picked up Bible lessons out here, and by the way, you are doing very good. So far, you've taken 3,000 cards for the Bible Research Program. That's what we've been averaging in churches. Some churches have taken all 6,000. Folks, I can only tell you, these cards you can give, like I walk into Food Line, there at the conference office, and there's a clerk, I just give her a card. Well, since she works there and I go back in there sometime, one day I said, have you had a chance to watch this? She said, my husband's watching it every day. See, that gives people a chance for the Holy Spirit to speak to people. See what I'm saying? And so these cards that you get out, you can give to anybody. Like, I'm not telling y'all to do what she said she did this morning by putting it in a, what was it, where people put their credit card. The next person comes along and finds the card. But you did hear the story I told this morning about the doctor in sociology finding it under a windshield wiper. And I've had people call complaining because they said it was on the flag of their mailbox. And I really wish we wouldn't do that, but people do all kind of ways. And so, but when a person starts the Bible lessons, and you've got a lot of lessons out here, and I think I'll leave as many as you want me to leave here, that when they start, we send this book, and this is Excerpts from Desire of Ages. This is the one I was talking about, that the pastor at, I told you, at Albany, he said, that's the best book I read, and it's from Desire of Ages. And so I just thought I'd mention that because it really is. Now, what we do, though, from then on is pass out a lot of other books and things, too, okay? All right, we're going to switch over to, who's doing the pushing the button up here? I've lost my person. Do you want to come up here and do this or something? And you may need to use the speaker here because I want you to read off of it. I can't see how to do it, so. Okay, we're going to go to the nutritional section. Oh, I know what she's doing. She's running off some of these handouts I was supposed to have brought. Oh, okay. I tell you what, I got thrown off this morning because Pam rode with us, so Beth Ray went to pick her up. My wife went to pick her up, and when they came back, I put some things in the car, and I simply went off and left these sitting there. I had to call my sister-in-law to make sure she picked it up out of the rain. But we're going to go to it'll say nutrition. Yeah, just go forward if you're going forward. Just keep going, you're okay. Well, I don't know why it's not going forward, because it's definitely forward. Okay, back up one. Can you back up? What does that say up there? Okay, I know this one I didn't cover. It was showing the difference in a person that's like in walking. On the left-hand side, they're showing the time it might take compared to a person that's out of shape versus one that's in shape. It shows cleaning the house. It shows some various things. I wouldn't worry about that right now. But now I'm glad I did say that because I was actually going to cover another part that we didn't. It's in the sheet too, I guess, that she'll give you. In other words, the comparison is this. It's on the sheet that she's running off for you. If it took you, you're comparing conditioning, okay? It's comparing conditioning. And so that if it took you 23 minutes to walk a mile, okay, how would you equate that if you were gardening, okay? Let's say you don't want to walk, but you want to be in the garden working. okay, then if it's 23-minute mile walking, it would take, you'd have to spend an hour in the garden walking to equal that in energy expenditure. Now, it's true it's more arms, but I'm talking about energy expenditure. Now, if you were gardening, you couldn't stop and talk about politics or religion or something else. You'd have to be working for an hour. I know there's people that like to say, well, I work in the garden. Okay. To equal that walking, you got to do it for whatever. Now, if you can walk like I was doing, if you can walk a 15-minute mile when you're walking just like this right here, then you'd have to work 30 minutes in the garden at that pace. So it just gives you a little idea of the comparison of the speeds, okay? Have you not been able to go forward yet to nutrition? I wonder if they have to help us. I don't know what's wrong. Why? That's flexibility. Keep going. Keep going. There you go. All right, let's go one more now. Yeah. Does that say carbohydrates? Okay. We're going to start on nutrition. And we're talking about carbohydrates, and you can tell there's three elements involved there: carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. That's plant foods. I referred to it this morning when I was talking about photosynthesis. The fact that these elements are out there. When you do an experiment, a chemical experiment, you break up some of these things. And so I'm sure that somewhere along the way in school, we used to do this. We would show kids the effect. Because what we would do, we'd put a carbon paper over a leaf and show how if it didn't have sunlight, it would not work. To be able to release oxygen, you've got to have the whole experiment. You see what I'm saying? You've got to have the carbon dioxide, you've got to have the sunlight, and all these activities, and then a chemical reaction will occur. Okay, all right. We're going to start off with carbohydrates. We're talking about plant foods. You want to read what's up there, please?
The 5 basic compounds of food are carbohydrates, proteins, fat, vitamins, and minerals.
Yeah, we're going to break those apart a little bit here. Let's go to the next slide.
Carbohydrates.
Carbohydrates, okay. I just mentioned that, so go ahead to the next slide.
And it tells about fruits and vegetables. You want that?
What?
Keep going.
Yeah. No, read whatever's up there.
Carbohydrates equates to fruits, vegetables, and cereals are the main sources for carbohydrates. 58% of total calories each day should come from these foods.
Okay, let's go to the next slide.
Found primarily in plant foods, acts as bulking agent that helps keep the intestines clean. 20 to 35 grams of dietary fiber per day is recommended for good health.
All right, repeat that. How much fiber a day? Now, folks, this is critical, and I'm going to show you something. It's between 20 and 35 grams. Now, a gram is equal to usually 1 gram is equal to 4 teaspoons. Now, we may not understand a gram, but we can understand what a teaspoon would be, okay? So if it's 1 gram, then you're talking about 4 teaspoons, okay? So in diabetes, it's easier to look at teaspoons. Now, when we get over to the meat thing, protein, it's easier to look at it from the gram standpoint, okay? But now it said 20 to 35 grams, okay? That's not much, okay? It would be basically almost 4 teaspoons probably. I think I said that backwards maybe. Okay, so fiber, why is it so important? Well, it is definitely an agent for breaking down sugar, starches, and these things. And so the point is, folks, you don't need much fiber. So what I'm going to do, and I don't know, did you pass this out a moment ago?
I passed out the 2 papers that you wanted to look at.
Okay, well.
The in-step aerobic chart and the other one that benefits
Yeah.
of walking.
Okay. Yeah, I went ahead and made reference to that. She passed out what I was talking about. I wished I had passed this out, and so what I'm going to have to help you do because this is not on the slides. Ruth, I'm going to have to let you read something off of this handout because we haven't run it off yet. Okay, you got to find nutrition. Wait a minute. No, just hold it right there. Wrong paper. She's going to read off. What I want you to do, since they don't have that, normally I would ask it, but what we're going to do is compare some of the plant foods that get the fiber you need. Now keep in mind, if you're not getting fiber, it is going to hurt you in being healthy from a diabetic standpoint. The fiber is a critical factor. Now, we don't always hear that. We always usually just hear, well, you're eating too much sugar. You know, that's what people think. Your body is designed to handle a certain amount of these things. Now, what I want her to do is we're going to compare some foods to show you how quickly and easily it is to add up the fiber that you need. Okay, we're going to start with fruits, I believe it is. So what's one you see there would be pretty high in fruit?
Apple, one medium.
That's not high. Look at one of them that's higher.
Which one? That one's a high.
Look at blueberries. Look at blueberries. Okay, blackberries.
7.6.
Yeah. All right. 1 cup of blackberries would give you 7.6. Now remember, you only got to have. Now, by the way, the 20 to 35 depends on your body size. Okay, that's how these things rotate. In other words, if you're somewhere between, it depends on male or female, but the lower weights would be like 20. 35 would be more like 200 pounds or 100. See what I'm saying? It's going to vary on the size. Okay, so 1 cup of blackberries. Write it down. I'm showing you how easy it is to figure this thing out. All right, she got 7.6. All right, what's something else on there?
Another high one is the prunes, believe it or not. Dried prunes are 6.
What are you saying?
The dried prunes are 6.
Okay, prunes, 6. Okay, now we're up to 13. Look at any of the other fruits over here.
Oh, okay. We have some that are pretty low.
That's okay.
One's watermelon, 1.3.
What about some that's 3 and 4?
We have blueberries.
Blueberries, folks, number 1. Blueberries are number 1 at fighting germs. Strawberries are number 2, okay?
Really?
The blueberries are number 1 on tests. And so what's the score on blueberries? I had some this morning. What?
It's a 4. Blueberries is a 4.
All right, so now you're up to 17. See how easy it is?
Yes.
So you just need a balance of fruit. Now, what about vegetables? We haven't got to that yet, so we're already up to 20 almost. What's one of the highest in vegetables?
Okay, one of the highest is a potato is a 5, and it's
Okay, potatoes 5, so you would already be up to 22 or 23. Okay.
And then we have another high one.
What about broccoli?
Well, we've got green peas too. That's a 4.
What?
A 4.
Okay.
Broccoli
So if you had what we just called off, you would already have enough fiber in a day. But folks, Americans are almost on an all-meat diet. The World Health Organization, I said it this morning, they say by the 2050, 1 in 3 people will be a diabetic. Wow. That's the way we're going. America is terrible. Folks, I'm going to show you in a few minutes, but let's just, I'm going to show you, so let's just not, but I'm going to talk about cereals and things that's just loaded that we're giving our kids.
You're saying that meat correlates with diabetes?
What? No, I'm saying if you eat an all-meat diet, where are you getting your fiber?
Yeah, I don't eat meat, but yeah.
No, I didn't mean you. I meant you plural.
Okay.
My point was, American is on an all-meat diet for the most part, or sugar diets,
Sugar, yeah.
Well, you'll see that unfold. All right, let's go to the next picture.
You should speak Southern.
I'm sorry,
Southern
what?
has a word for
What?
plural. You should speak Southern, because Southern's got a word for plural you. So you all.
Okay, I'm going to tell you. Okay. When I went to Andrews, I had never been out of the South except on a baseball team when I was in high school, and that was in Cincinnati. And you can hear my accent. Mine's as southern as they come. But when I went to Andrews, they asked me if I was going to take English as a foreign language. They never had heard the word y'all. What are y'all doing today anyway? And then, I couldn't figure that out. I was serious. But anyway, but I have tried to improve a little bit on that. Okay. Let's go to, next slide. I'm sorry, next slide.
I'm on the next slide. It says glycemic.
All right, what we're going to do now is look at the glycemic index. In other words, the foods that raise your sugar levels up. Now remember, you've got the fiber, then you're ready to go, okay? But now we're going to talk about sugars and starches, okay? So again, we can't do this the way we normally do it. We usually ask you to help me. So what I'm going to ask Ruth is go ahead to the next slide.
Okay.
In the category, tell me the category when you get there.
Grains, glycemic index.
What's the category?
Grains.
Grains, okay. Tell us what's on the left at the top, what's the very top. Now, it's going to show a lot of foods, but right now look at the top left. I believe it's pasta.
It is pasta.
Oh, yes, okay. Now, follow me. If you ate a cup of pasta, what would it take your sugar level up to? What's it say on side to side? What?
64.
64. Now, keep in mind that ideally, your blood sugar level, glucose level is supposed to be 70, okay? If it's 100, now we're not talking about every once in a while, but if it's a proven test score of 100, then you're called a pre-diabetic. If it's 130 and above, then you're regarded as a diabetic. That's just the figures that we're talking about, okay? So what we want to do here, this just gives you a little idea. Now remember, this is not the only problem, but we're looking at the different problems that add up to a big problem. So we're going to write down 64 grams. Okay, now remember, body size is going to be a factor in this. 100-pound compared to a 200-pound person, it's going to be a little bit more. You see what I'm saying? If the things are equal, then it's going to be a little bit more on the 100-pound person than it would be on the 200-pound person, if that makes any sense. All right, now look at the extreme right at the bottom. What does it say? What food is it?
French bread.
Oh, what goes with pasta? French bread. Yes. Now, please look at that score. What does it say? 136?
It says 136.
Okay, that's one slice. Does it say one slice?
No, it doesn't say anything. Actually.
Okay, it's one slice. Now, you tell me what man, number one, is going to only eat 1 cup of pasta. You go to a restaurant and they fill it up. It may be 2 or 3 cups. And what man is only going to eat 1 slice of French bread? And I say that because men normally are going to eat a lot more, but even ladies are probably going to eat 2 slices. And I mean, I think I'd probably want to eat 3. Now, I used to weigh 200 pounds, and I weighed 210, but then I decided to change my diet, so I only weigh 160, 165, and now I'm a walking skeleton, you know what I mean? And my kids even tell me that. So.
Instead of eating 3 French breads, I can eat 4 donuts.
Okay, don't go ahead of us. We're not talking about donuts yet. We'll get there. Okay. Now, in between, there's something else up there. Do you see any kind of something about potatoes or rice on the right side? Yeah. Which one is it?
White rice.
Brown rice.
Oh, okay. Whoa. Don't blow our score here. On white rice, what's the score over there on the right-hand side?
126.
Yeah.
Most restaurants you go to, it's going to be white rice. Right. And again, 1 cup. Oh, come on. You want 2 or 3 cups. And that 1 cup went to 126. So all I'm showing you is write these down. 126 and 64, we're already close to 200. Okay? But start doubling that. As I just said, you add double these things. Now, look on the left side to brown rice. What's the score?
Brown rice is 79.
Okay, so which would be better technically?
Brown rice.
All right, I'm just trying to show you the good and the bad, okay? Let's go to, hold a minute, I got a hand up again. The donut man's got his hand up, okay?
Is that because there's more fiber in brown rice?
Exactly, very good. Very good observation. You're exactly right. The white rice, they do all kind of stuff too. You're exactly right, because it's cheaper that way. You see what I'm saying? And don't take this wrong. I've been in I've held evangelism meetings in India. I've held them in Nicaragua. I've had in Philippines. Those all were white rice countries. Now, the Nicaragua doesn't count because we were out in the jungle, literally, and I baptized the translators out there. But we're talking about India and Philippines, white rice. You know, I was there for 3 weeks in some of those places. Anyway, he touched on it because I just said you need the fiber. And they also take a few other chemicals out of these things. They get it as cheap as possible to make sure. They don't care what it does to your body. Let's just get it out there. All right, let's go to the next category.
You want me to switch?
Sure, what is it?
This one here?
Cereals?
I think it's cereals.
What does it say?
Hang on. There, oh, wait, you double clicked on me.
Are y'all helping us?
We can't get a copy of that, right? That's not.
Yeah, but we didn't run all this off. I had it all. I just messed up this morning. First time I've ever gone off and left them.
Legumes and vegetables.
We're on legumes.
Legumes and vegetables, it says.
What's the first thing up at the top?
Peanuts.
Okay, I think we skipped one, but we'll go ahead with whatever this is. All right, she said peanuts are 21. I can tell you when I talked about a weight loss, when I went from 200 down, one of the big things I did was changed breakfast foods. American breakfast foods, stop and think about it. I'm going to show you in a minute on sugars or meat. It's, again, big things. And I just went to a variety of peanuts. I had some this morning. It's low in calories. It's low right here. You can see it, just 21 in sugar. And there's a mixture of nuts out there, a lot of them. All right, what are we on?
We are on cereals.
Okay, what's on the extreme right now?
Extreme right is poor meal rice checks is 127.
What is it?
Rice checks.
Yeah, rice checks. That more typifies most sugars out there. If you go into a grocery store and go up and down the aisles, and I'm telling you, people, if you haven't done it recently, the aisles will probably be double from here out there to that door.
Yeah.
And look at the back of the cereals. Almost every one of them say 10 grams. 10 grams, if it's compared to, for any level, it's amazing what they've got. Now, 10 grams would be like 4 teaspoons, okay? Now, and I remember when one of my grandkids she was 4 years old, and the recommendation was that children should have no more than 4 to 6 teaspoons, okay? And so she had a box of some kind of juice, and I said, what does it say on the back? She said, it says 4. I said, well, that's all you can have today. Or another time it might say 6 to 8, and they're only supposed to have 6 to 8 in a whole day. And my point is, I sometimes catch a ride to the office from, this week I called one actually from Heidi, our lady there at the front desk. But I was there one morning, and this lady would drive in, or about 3 or 4 kids would jump out, they'd come on there, and they'd come back out with all this cheap juice and all this stuff. And they're probably adding up, unbelievable, 2 or 3 or 4 times more sugar they should have in a whole day for these kids. But anyway, all right, let's go on. Let's go to the next category.
Okay.
What is it?
It's being facetious.
Oh, I thought you were supposed to shine it up there.
No, you gotta shine it through the computer. There you go, legumes and vegetables.
All right, again, what's on the left-hand side?
All right, did you want to stay on that one?
What?
Did you want to stay? I'm on sugar and the glycemic index.
Okay, I know that. Okay, let's go to, our potatoes up there? Look on the right side to
No, I don't see any. No.
baked potato.
No,
It's not on the right side?
no. There's no baked potato. I don't see it.
You don't see baked potato?
Baked potato is on the legumes and vegetables at the
Yeah.
bottom at 121.
Okay, baked potato, 129, raising your sugar level. 1 baked potato. That's a medium-sized baked potato. Now look on the left side, the brown potato. What did I say? White potato on the left-hand side.
We have peanuts, we have soybeans.
No, look down on the peanut, another peanut, potatoes.
All it says is potato steamed is 93.
What is it?
93. Potato baked is 121. And a sweet potato is 77.
I thought we were comparing white potatoes to the, okay, I don't know. Anyway, all right, let's keep going then.
Didn't come up that way.
All right, let's go to, have we gotten to fruit yet?
Sugar.
It says fructose on it.
Why can they not change that up there if we need to?
Because this is not working well at all.
This is not working well down here.
No, it's not working, it's just sporadic.
Okay, we need to go to fruit.
Okay, here's fruit.
Okay, look at fruit on the left-hand side quickly.
Yeah.
What does it show?
Watermelon, 103.
No, that's not on the left side. I said the left side.
Orange, 63.
What's the top?
Cherry,
Okay. What's the score?
32.
30. All right, that's very low. Now look at watermelon on the right. 103.
Yeah.
And that's a slice of watermelon. What man is only going to eat one little slice? Now, I'm not crazy about watermelon, so I might eat a little bit once a year, but if I do, it's going to be half the watermelon or something. Not one slice, you know what I'm saying? So this...
Is this the 1 cup?
What?
1 cup?
I said one slice.
Well, how much is there? 1 cup of cherries?
Yeah. Exactly right. And it's got a lot more up there. I apologize that we're going to try to get all these things run off for y'all. I just messed up, okay? All right, let's go to the next thing. I think that might be it. See anything else?
Okay, we got heart, normal artery, pictures of normal artery, and we all.
Okay, all right, stop right there. We're leaving plants. All right, that was the situation dealing with diabetics, okay? I'll give you a little idea. Now, we didn't go into donuts and cakes and all that, but we are right now, so just hold on. Okay, you want to come up? We're going to read. Where's that sheet? The one.
This one here?
Not the sheet, it's the container.
Which one?
Well,
I don't have it.
I laid it somewhere.
Yeah, I don't know.
Is it? Well, it's here somewhere. I brought it up. It may be in the white box, wherever the white box is.
There's this white box, but the only thing in it is tickets.
I know, because I took it out. I thought I put it over on this table. Couldn't just walk off.
What are you looking for?
Remember, it's got sugar in it. I told you a lot of different sugar pockets.
Oh, yeah, here we go, right here.
Okay.
Moved it over to the side.
Sorry. Here you go. Come on up. You're going to do this. She's going to compare some of these sugars because we looked at it from the plant foods. What's the first one on the left?
Chocolate milk, 8 ounces. It has 6 teaspoons.
Okay. Teaspoons, remember, compared to grams. So you're going to be, that's 32. Remember, it's 4 grams, 6. What would your score was? 4?
That one was, what was 6? 6.
6, yeah.
For
So
8
4
ounce
times
glass.
6 would be 20. So that would be, remember, 24. Now, the average size for adults for grams of sugar is usually somewhere, again, depending on your body size, no more than like 36 to 42 grams, okay? So we're talking about grams or teaspoons. You're telling them
Yeah,
teaspoons.
this is teaspoons, it says.
It doesn't say grams, right?
No, it
Okay,
says
well, just multiply 4 times. Or what's the next one?
The next one is peanut butter and jelly sandwich, 5 to 7 teaspoons.
Okay, so 7 times 4 would be what? 35? Okay, so you can see, just if you're writing this down, I'm going to give you a little idea of how quickly this can add up. Now, we only mentioned 2 things. What was the first one?
6, it was
No, what was
chocolate
it?
milk
Chocolate milk?
and
this.
peanut butter and jelly
Okay,
sandwich.
all right, what's the next one?
Pecan pie,
Okay, what's that?
5 ounce slices, 12 teaspoons.
12 times 4, 48 already.
Oh my goodness.
Now, folks, I'm just telling you. Now, we're not going to have time to read all these, but what's this one?
That one there is gelatin dessert. 1 cup is 8 teaspoons.
Now, this one will fool you right here. Is that applesauce?
No, that one is, I saw it.
Okay, I have another one. This is not the same one.
Okay.
Applesauce will fool you. Believe it or not, because if it's got added sugar to it, it can easily be 30 or 40.
That one's a bad one.
Well, let's not get there yet. What's this one?
That one is Kool-Aid sweetened. 8 ounces is 6 teaspoons.
6 teaspoons.
That one is chewing gum. 1 pack is 4 teaspoons.
Do you see cake or anything on here anywhere? Maybe it's down here at the bottom.
A chocolate cake iced 4-ounce slice, 12 teaspoons.
48 grams. You could easily total up 200 grams of sugar, I'm telling you, that way. And that's what a lot of people do, okay? Let's see what else you might get attention on.
Just for you, Peter, a glazed donut is 6 teaspoons.
On one?
On one.
6 times 24, so you eat 4, you're up to 80. What's 4 times 24? Yeah, a lot. Wow. 4 would be 80, 4 would be 92 or something, 96 or something.
That's crazy.
Okay, I know I go into these meetings and people say, oh, you're ruining my things I love.
Orange soda, a 12-ounce can has 12 teaspoons.
There you go, 4 times 12 again. Same thing. All these are, you can see the same. You can see how they're compared.
Crazy.
Okay. Okay, that's enough. I just made you upset now, probably. All right, we need to switch over very quickly here anyway. All right. Any questions about the diabetic thing? Obviously, you did see it wasn't just sugars. It was also starches. Okay, you saw that. In the baked potato, sweet potato, white rice. Got it? Yeah, brown rice. So it's starches and sugar and exercise as factors. Now we're going to talk about, we're back to heart disease, and this is the one that can, among Seventh-day Adventists, can stir up stuff because I go into churches, I'm a Seventh-day Adventist all my life. We're going to talk about heart disease. And from a diet standpoint, up here on the picture, and remember what I already told you about heart attacks for as far as a day compared to exercise. Now we're talking about from a diet standpoint. That picture is the size of an average heart. It's like your fist. All right, next picture, please. All right. Now it's up on the screen, and it's also right here. That is a natural, the way your artery should be. It should be nice and clear, okay? Now I've got a model here that we're going to show you. And you've seen this before. Over here, this is your artery. The red blood are the red blood cells trying to keep you alive, okay? It's carrying the oxygen. We just read it. Now over here, we've got a problem because we have some yellow stuff, which is called plaque, okay? And you can see it's getting slower, and it just stopped. Now, if that's to your brain, you just had a stroke.
Oh, geez.
If that's your heart, you just had a heart attack. No more oxygen going. It just stopped. So the question is, what causes this plaque? Now, we can get into discussions all we want about eating meat versus eating meat. Clean meat, the Bible plainly says, is fine to eat, okay? That can be anything from chicken to, you know what on. And so what's going on here? Okay. Please understand it, and you can do your own research on this if you want to. It's fine. God made cholesterol for all animals, including humans. Cholesterol makes strong cellular walls. Think about this. Your body has millions of cells. We never talk about it. We talk about cells, but we don't talk about the walls that God used cholesterol. So every animal makes its own cholesterol. All right? So common sense would tell you that God has made your body to make the amount of cholesterol you need. Now we talk about too much sugar. Okay? Back to plant foods. The plant foods we had were nowhere near the donuts and the cake and all that. Now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with donuts and cake or whatever I'm saying, but from a health standpoint, you see there's a different figure in these plant foods as some of these other things that are heavily sugar, different kind of sugar, obviously laden. You understand it? Okay, so that what we got up here is what causes cholesterol. All right, I'm glad you asked the question. Let's go to the next picture. All right, read that for us, Ruth.
There are usually no signs of disease disease until 90 to 95% of the artery is plugged.
Virtually no sign. You may be feeling great and have a heart attack. Why? Now you say, well, my heart rate's good. I exercise a lot. We're not talking about that now. We're talking about what's getting in the blood. See, the heart attack, the muscle itself can have a problem, but it also can be in the blood. The oxygen's simply not getting there, and you can't live without oxygen. Okay? It just clogs it. That's what I'm going to show you in a few minutes on a video where the guy's pulling it out of a guy in his operation.
I just had a girlfriend up in Tennessee, in Chattanooga, or actually in Cleveland. She just now had a heart attack. She's not even 50. She's 43. She was 99, 99, and 95% blocked.
There you go. Thank you.
The only way they found out about it was she went to work. She all of a sudden had a massive headache and started throwing up. They called the ambulance, and the people in the ambulance immediately knew it was a heart.
That's why.
No idea.
That is why, folks, that I asked you earlier, or stressed, to get regular physical exams. Normally, they'll pick up on the cholesterol level. Saturated fat is another issue. We'll talk about it in just a minute. Cholesterol. Now, what's interesting about this, heredity is a factor. There's no doubt about it. I had a grandmother that lived till she was 96, eating rabbits and squirrels and everything else. But folks, that is not the average. And I told you I had a cousin, not in that side of the family, had a heart attack at 33. So now let's go slowly through this. But the point is, you saw the figures. That's based on a lot of tests. Let's go to the next test. Next picture.
Oh, sorry.
No.
There we go.
But
The
it'd be,
artery is 99% plugged with buildup of cholesterol and plaque. Look.
99%. So how can oxygen get through it? It can't. 99% clogged. Notice what she said. Cholesterol and what?
Cholesterol and plaque.
Plaque, yeah. And the plaque comes from a combination of saturated fats too. We're going to look at that in just a moment. Let's go to the next picture. And now this is a picture from, again, from, where am I? What college? What test? Harvard Medical School. Again, this time it has to do with, from the heart standpoint, in the process of breaking down all these fats and everything. Again, exercise is a factor, but high plaque and all this is also a factor. And they've also proven that for each cell. It's basically what they're talking about, how that all this stuff gets in your cells. That's what they're basically saying, that it's a cellular thing, okay? Does that make sense? It's not just your heart. It could be different cells of your body. Same way with sugar. All right, let's go to the next picture. Okay.
Proteins.
All right, now here's, folks, here's where we got a key on this. Well, go ahead and first of all, tell us why we need protein. Read that for us.
It says chemically break down into amino acids.
Okay, we know sugar breaks down to glucose. Here's amino acid, that's just the name. Okay, all right, go ahead.
Building blocks for hormones and enzymes.
Okay, why do we need protein? Hormones, and what was the other?
Enzymes.
Okay, so it's going to affect how we feel and how our body works. Okay, what's another one?
It says structural components of hard parts of the
Hard
body.
parts of the body is a
Such as
factor.
bones, fingernails, hair,
Right.
muscle.
So protein is important, but here's the problem. Most people think you're only going to get protein from meat, okay? And I have a son that, well, he's actually smart, and I'll tell you why I know. He worked with the second largest insurance company in the world. He's an actuary, okay? Now, my IQ in math is in the moron range. I took an IQ test in college, and I think it was 67. Okay, the average is 90 to 110. I said in math. Well, somehow he's a math person. This is crazy. It has nothing to do with this. But he was in academy, and I better not say which one it was, but he didn't like the math teacher, and he made an F. Today, he's on a third or fourth grade level. And if you get anything from Amazon at your house, he's the one that came up with that insurance company covering that.
Oh, really?
And now a company wants to be number one. Their number two has hired him, and he makes a lot of money. And he was riding in a car, in a driverless car, sitting in the back seat, and I'm watching it. He says, Dad, I'm riding in the back seat of a driverless car. I can see the steering wheel up there turning different ways. And he said, right up here, we're supposed to turn left, but I see there's a truck blocking the road. It'll be interesting to see how this thing handles. Sure enough, it went up and figured out a way to turn and go. I tell you that because he now has that, is insuring all of the driverless cars. Now, the reason I'm telling you that, when he was in high school, he had won a presidential award on physical fitness with a 97 percentile. That meant only 3% better. But through the years, now he's 48 or whatever, and he's really strong, but he weighed about 230 or 40 pounds of muscles. And he keeps saying, Dad, my coach said that I need 200 to 400 or 600 grams of protein. I said, the coach doesn't know what he's talking, whatever. And now I figured out he's been teasing me a lot because he's got a couple of newborn babies, one that's 2.5 and one that's 6 months. And I noticed he's a different person. He's starting to look like he used to. He's already lost 25, 30, 35 pounds. But he was kidding me all the time about this protein. But I've noticed now that when we go over to his house to eat, I'm seeing a lot more plant foods and other things. And folks, so I'm going to tell you that, use my own self as an example here. I was a vegetarian. I ate meat when I was in high school, but I decided to become a vegetarian. And but my cholesterol through all the years was still 200, 210. And for every 10 over 200, it doubles your chance for a heart attack. That's a scientific fact based on research. If it's 210, it doubles the chance. If it's 220, you're doubling it again. And that's why this cholesterol is such a huge factor. Now, we don't like to admit that. Now, folks, it's got nothing to do with, except I want to come back to what I was originally talking about. If cholesterol makes strong cellular walls in humans, so does it all animals. So that when you eat another animal product, doesn't matter if it's clean or not, you're still getting its cholesterol. And I use it as gross exaggeration, that if you ate a hawk, you're getting the cholesterol from the hawk plus your own, but you're also, forget that hawk had just eaten a rattlesnake out here in the road, and the snake had just eaten a rat. That's a gross exaggeration. But the big deal with the animal products is you are getting their cholesterol. There's no way around that because God made animals to make it. It's not an argument of whether it's okay or not from a spiritual standpoint, but it's just a matter of whether you're interested in cholesterol or not. So in my own case, this is important. I was a vegetarian, but I still ate eggs, cheese, and milk. Eggs have 200 milligrams in an average-sized egg, okay? We're going to see that in just a minute up here. Eat 2 eggs, you've got 400 milligrams of cholesterol. And the same way the sugar adds up, I'm going to show you how this adds up. So in my case, I finally decided to get off of that about 25 years ago. My cholesterol went from 210 down to the largest health study done. You'll hear this on the film. If they find cholesterol under 150, they didn't find any heart attacks. My cholesterol has been hovering. I've had it under 150, but the last time I did it, it was 152, which tells me I'm eating something out there that's got a little something in it. Now, it's not bad, but I'm just work hard to try to keep my body healthy. So, that's where we're going. All right, let's go to the next picture very quickly.
Okay, proteins.
Protein, yeah, go ahead. Next picture after protein.
After proteins?
Yeah, let's go to saturated fats.
Oh, okay. Okay, here we are, fats.
Fats. Okay, there's 2 kinds of fats, saturated and unsaturated. Unsaturated would be fats in plants and that type of thing. Fats that are saturated, we're supposed to, for an average 150-pound person, only needs 15 grams of saturated fat. Okay, unsaturated can be 30 to 35, 25, somewhere in there. Now, if you add the 2 up, depending on your body size, I said 150-pound person, okay? 150-pound person, 15 and 25 would be 40 grams of total fat, okay? How are we doing as human beings? Well, let's go up and look and see what it says.
It says most concentrated forms of energy supply over twice as many calories per grams as protein or carbohydrates. It can be efficiently stored for future use.
Yeah, go ahead to the next slide. I just.
Okay, yeah, it said unsaturated fats from plants are the healthiest source.
Yeah, there you go. So the fats that we need, you can get from plants, but you can, of course, get it from animal products. But you could just, the figures she just read before. Unfortunately, we loaned out some of our materials like this to a church, and I never got back the one on fats. So it's kind of, I don't have the one to compare some of these different things on fats, but I will tell you one that I know very well, that because I've shown it many times, that a average size hamburger has 15 grams of fat, okay? Nothing wrong with that. Body said 15 for a day. French fries, average size of French fries is 25 grams. Now, one medium-sized hamburger and a medium-sized of French fries adds up to 40 grams, which is the total for saturated and unsaturated fats. You see what I'm saying? 15 grams and 25 grams. So you can argue, do whatever you want, it doesn't matter. A 150-pound person, research shows it's that. Now, the average person, man, eating a hamburger is probably not going to eat one. It's probably, when I was a kid, I used to wonder if I could eat 20 crystals. Problem is, even though they were $1 back then, or a nickel or whatever they were, I think they were a nickel when I was a kid, we didn't have much money to buy them. So I maybe only had 4 at one time. And, you know, crystals, I feel like you could just swallow them almost. But remember what I just said, just take 2 regular hamburgers, okay? Okay, that means the saturated fat is now 30, and the unsaturated is 50. So what have you got? You got 80 grams. I believe 30 and 50 is 80. I told you my IQ is not very high in math. Okay? And so, did you follow that? But what about if you want to eat 3 hamburgers? Or what about large size of fries? See? All these things, I mean, I'm not making this up. You can go to any research you want to on it. Now, there's other things. Let's take chicken nuggets. 6 chicken nuggets, 20 grams of fat. Okay? You can just go down the line, and I've already mentioned eggs. I mean, we all know that eggs are very high in it, depending on the milk, and you can get it now without any cholesterol and all that. So, you know, we could go on all this. So what I'm going to do here in a minute is just switch over and go ahead and show you the film, because he will summarize almost everything I'm saying right now. And remember, this is not a Seventh-day Adventist. He's coming from a scientific standpoint. You understand what I'm saying? And it is on the internet. It's called A Diet for All Reasons. So I don't know if there's any need to ask any more questions on this, because basically he's going to summarize. He will toward the end. Now this is only about 30 minutes, so we're going to get out plenty of time. It's only about 4 o'clock. So he will talk about too much of some things that we think we need. So I want you to pick up on that, because he's going to tell you some other things other than just what we're talking about here on heart disease, okay? Can we turn off the lights?
Yeah.
And are y'all ready up there? It's called, he told me he had it ready. It's called A Diet for All Reasons video. Dr. Clapper is his name. And he's kind of funny too, so he'll get your attention. It's pretty humorous. Let's make sure we can hear it, see it first. Go ahead, forward one more.
Forward.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, there you go. Turn it up.
This is a quotation I saw in medical school by Thomas Edison. It said, "The doctor of the future will give no medicine. Instead, will interest his patient in the care of the human frame, in diet, and in the cause and prevention of disease. And one of Thomas's brighter ideas. And when I saw this quote in medical school, I just passed it right on by. I went to the University of Illinois College of Medicine in Chicago, and I was so into becoming a real doctor, and real doctors do real doctor things. They deliver babies, they fix broken arms, they sew lacerations, that's what real doctors do. And diet was boring stuff. Nutrition, yeah, you send them down to the dietitian, and they figure out a 2,000 calorie diet, and don't bother me. And that's how I practiced medicine for the first 8 or 10 years of my career. Well, I have soon, or late, come to realize how important what we eat really is in the creation and prevention of so many of the diseases that we see today. And I'll tell you how I came to those realizations. Now, the North American diet has changed. This is not going to be a technical lecture, but I did want to show you this one graph because there's some very significant lines here. The two top lines, the lavender line and the yellow line, are the amount of plant-based foods that are consumed in the United States and in Canada as well. And this is back in 1909. You can see we were eating a lot of grain products. We were eating almost 300 pounds of wheat and barley and other grain products, and almost 200 pounds of potatoes a year. Look what happened in the intervening 85 years. Our consumption of wheat and grain products have fallen to half of their 1909 level, and our potato consumption has fallen to half of their 1909 level. Look what happened to the amount of flesh foods that we are eating. The amount of milk we consume has more than doubled. Our beef consumption has gone up by 50%, and our chicken consumption has gone up by 280%. We are eating a tremendous amount of animal flesh, and we have essentially exchanged a plant-based diet for a meat-based diet. And the results have been just disastrous for both our health and the environment. Consider how much animal flesh most North Americans eat. In their lifetime, the average meat-eating American is going to eat 15 cows, going to eat 24 hogs, eat 12 sheep. She will eat 900 chickens, and 1,000 pounds of assorted animals that either swam in the water or flew in the air. That is a tremendous amount of animal flesh to be pouring through the human bloodstream year after year. No wonder we wind up with clogged arteries and high blood pressure and cancers and a lot of other diseases, and I'll show you how those two are related. Let's talk about the health effects of an animal-based diet. Here it is, the great American dietary catastrophe in all its glory. I grew up thinking this is good food. What's for lunch, Mom? Oh, I got something good for you, son, she'd say. And she'd give me some food like this. And my mother didn't know, and your mother didn't know. They didn't know that the sausages and the eggs and the ham were just loaded with fat and cholesterol. And this is a coronary artery thrombosis waiting for some place to happen. Now, what is the effect on your body when you eat food like this? Well, the effect was brought out very dramatically to me about 10 years ago. I was on the cardiovascular anesthesia service. That's the service that deals with people's hearts and blood vessels. And like all good anesthesia residents, I was making my rounds one evening to see my patients for next morning surgery. And the last patient I was seeing, I pulled back the curtain and there was Mr. Phillips. Nice fellow, but he was just huge. He weighed 290 pounds. And he was booked for a 4-vessel coronary artery bypass procedure. He weighed 290 pounds. 290 was also his systolic blood pressure. It was also his cholesterol level. It was also his blood sugar level. I called him Mr. 290. Nice guy, but really clogged up in his arteries. And because it was late at night, it was too late to call the blood drawing technician out to draw his blood test. I drew his preoperative blood work into a glass tube. And I put it out at the nurse's station, and later I came by to pick up the blood tube and take it down to the laboratory. And when I looked at the tube of blood, I couldn't believe my eyes. When you draw blood into a glass tube and let it sit there for an hour, it separates out into 2 parts, and the red clot settles to the bottom.
We'll pass this around. This is what he's talking about. You can see how it's not white like it should
be. Here you see 2 tubes of blood, and the tube on the left is normal serum, is normal blood. Here you see the dark red clot. And this golden yellow liquid, this is normal serum. This is what your blood is supposed to look like. But I looked at Mr. Phillips' tube, and it was just shocking. The serum floating in his tube was thick and greasy white. It looked like Elmer's glue. It
just like the one I'm passing around.
When I shook it, I went back into the room. I said, Mr. Phillips, did you eat before you came to the hospital? He said, yes. I said, what did you have? He said, I had a double cheeseburger and a milkshake. And when he said that, I realized what I was looking at was all the fat in the beef burger, and the butter fat, and the cheese, and the butter fat, and the ice cream, and the butter fat, and the milk had oozed out into his blood and turned his blood fatty. It's a well-known clinical phenomenon. It's called lipemia, and it happens every time you eat a fatty meal. You turn your blood fatty, and your blood stays this way for 4 hours until your liver can clear it out of the bloodstream. If you are like most North Americans and eat bacon and eggs for breakfast, and a cheeseburger for lunch, and fried chicken for dinner, and ice cream for dessert, you're keeping your blood fatty all day. The stuff never clears out of the bloodstream. You keep your blood fatty for 40 years, 50 years, 60 years. What do you think is going to happen to the arteries carrying all that fat? I will show you what happens to the arteries carrying all that fat in a few minutes, but it's a disaster. There's a lot of fat in the North American diet, and it's hidden in most foods. You can see the fat around a T-bone steak, but most of the fat is in the muscle of the animal, and it's hidden in the dairy products. And most of the folks who present food to us don't want us to think about the fat, especially the fast food industry. They really don't want you to think about how much fat is in their burgers and hot dogs, except one chain of fast food restaurants in Los Angeles. There is one burger chain that is very forthright about the reality of the fat content of their diet, and they come right out and tell you clearly on the marquee about the product that they're selling. Now, if you stood outside the exit door of this restaurant or McDonald's or any other fast food restaurant where people are shoveling in their cheeseburgers, if you stood at the exit door with a needle and a syringe in your hand and drew blood on the people walking out the exit door, what you would see is most of the blood would be as fatty as Mr. Phillips' blood tube. They're all in there making the blood fatty. Do you ever have a big cheese pizza and a bowl of ice cream afterwards and you feel a little greasy on the inside? It's because you really are. You really go greasy on the inside. Animal fat comes in 3 flavors in the North American diet. It comes in the form of red meat, and the fat is in the meat. It is in the fibers of the animal's muscle, and just trimming off the white fat on the edge of the steak really does not lower the fat and cholesterol content significantly of the meat. So red meat is the #1 source of fat and cholesterol in the North American diet. The second is the yolk of hen's eggs. The egg of a chicken is meant to hatch baby chicks. And the yolk of the hen's egg is one of the most concentrated globs of fat and cholesterol on the planet. It is made to power that baby chicken for 21 days with no other energy. And when you run egg yolks through your bloodstream, you turn your blood fatty, just like Mr. Phillips. And the third source of fat in the North American diet comes from that white fluid that comes out of the udder of a cow. Now, cow's milk is a high-fat fluid exquisitely designed for turning a 65-pound calf into a 400-pound cow a year. That is what cow's milk is for. Now, the whole milk has a butterfat content of 3%. That's the cream that rises up to the top. And you drink a 3% solution of butterfat, you're going to turn your blood fat, as will a 2 and 1% solution of butterfat. But at the dairy, the butterfat is skimmed off and they concentrate it into huge vats, half the size of this room. And they concentrate the fat to 50, 60, 80, 90% fat. This stuff is so thick you can walk across it. Why do they do that? Well, they do that so you will buy it and eat it. The butterfat is mixed up with air until it hardens into chunks called butter. The butterfat is mixed with sugar and frozen and sold as ice cream. The butterfat is mixed up with cocoa powder and sugar and sold as milk chocolate. Butterfat is mixed up with bacteria and allowed to ferment until it turns into sour cream. A lower fat version is called yogurt. And the butterfat is mixed up with calf's stomach and bacteria and allowed to ferment for about 6 weeks till it hardens into chunks called cheese. These are all forms of butterfat. The folks at the dairy want you to buy the butterfat and eat it. And when you do, you turn your blood fat. There's absolutely no reason to run butterfat through your bloodstream at any time, and I'm submitting to you that you'll be a lot healthier and happier if you do not. Cow's milk is for baby calves. You have no more need of cow's milk than you do giraffe milk or horse milk or rat milk. Now back to Mr. Phillips. Nice fella, but I was impressed with all that in his bloodstream. We took Mr. Phillips down to the operating room, and I gave him 1,000 micrograms of fentanyl and put him to sleep, and the surgeon opened up his chest and opened up his aorta and opened up his coronary arteries. And what the surgeon started pulling out of Mr. Phillips' arteries were great, long, yellow, greasy, sausage-like formations of fat that looked like this. What you're looking at is a plug of material called atherosclerosis. And this is the plug of fat that built up in a man's arteries. The artery was a tube coming out at you from the screen. The artery wall has been cut away, and you're just looking at the fat that built up. It started around the edge of the blood vessel and started moving in on the blood flow channel as the years went by. And the blood flow channel got smaller and smaller and smaller till only this dark red spot was left for the blood flow to come through. And when a clot formed here, it stopped the blood flow completely through that artery. And because it happened in this man's right coronary artery, it stopped the blood flow to his heart and brought him and took him to the autopsy table. This is the #1 cause of death of people in North America. Every 30 seconds on this continent, Canada included, somebody grabs their chest and falls over with a heart attack. This is animal fat clogging up the arteries. When you send this material down to the pathologist and you ask him to analyze it, the report always comes back the same: saturated fat and cholesterol. It's animal fat. The pathology report never, ever, ever contains the words remnants of broccoli, rice, and tofu. With animal fat. The good news is when you stop running animal fat through your bloodstream, this stuff melts away. This stuff will come off the artery walls and arteries can open up. And Dr. Dean Ornish in California and Dr. John McDougall and a number of other physicians are now routinely reversing atherosclerosis, having people cancel their coronary artery bypass surgery because they changed their diet and their arteries have opened up. That's the good news. Here is the process happening. Here are 6 arteries coming out at you from the screen. The dark red circle is the artery wall. The pink material is the atherosclerotic material clogging the artery. The white spot is the blood flow channel, which is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. Any organ dependent upon this blood vessel for its blood flow is in trouble. Fortunately, it's a reversible disease. This atherosclerotic material clogs arteries all over the body. It's just a matter of which artery to which organ clogs up first that gives you the symptoms. If the yellow atherosclerotic fat builds up in an artery going up to the brain, you will suffer a stroke. If it clogs an artery going to your kidney, you'll suffer kidney failure or high blood pressure. If the atherosclerotic material accumulates on the walls of large blood vessels like the aorta that takes blood from the heart down to the abdomen and legs, the artery walls become damaged and weaken. They lose their strength. And the high pressure in the blood vessel causes the artery to balloon out, forming an aneurysm, which can then rupture, leading to emergency surgery or death. If the yellow atherosclerotic material clogs up an artery going to a loop of intestine, the general surgeon will open your abdomen and remove that loop of bowel. If the atherosclerotic material clogs up an artery going to a toe or foot, you will watch that toe or foot turn dark and gangrenous, and you'll sign permission forms for amputation. And if the atherosclerotic material clogs an artery going to the heart, you will suffer crushing chest pain when you walk called angina pectoris. Or if it clogs the blood flow completely and damages the heart muscle, that is a heart attack. People, this is all the same disease. We are talking about animal fat, essentially clogging up the arteries throughout the body. And it's the #1 cause of death and disability in North America. And this is essentially a disease of people who eat animals and the products made from animals. You almost never see these diseases in pure vegetarians. And William Costelli, the doctor who runs the Framingham Heart Study, says he has never seen a heart attack in anybody with a cholesterol below 150, and there's good reason for that. Why does this happen? Because all fats are not created equal. There's a fundamental difference between animal fats and plant oils. Animal fats contain cholesterol. No plant food contains cholesterol in any significant amount. It is an animal product. And very importantly, animal fats are highly saturated. They've got lots of hydrogen atoms hanging on them, and that makes animal fats very stiff. In fact, animal fats are solid at body temperature. If you're in a kitchen on a summer day and you've got a piece of T-bone steak on the counter and it's 98.6 degrees out, the same as your body temperature, the fat on that beef steak is solid. It's a nice white chunk sitting there. If you have a bottle of olive oil on the same table at that same temperature, it's liquid at that same body temperature. I don't know about you, but I don't want to eat any fat that is solid at my body temperature because it's going to start clogging up my arteries. And that's the beauty of plant oils. They're liquid at your body temperature. They really don't cling to your arteries. Animal fats contain a substance called arachidonic acid. And arachidonic acid stimulates the creation in the body of a substance called prostaglandin 2. And prostaglandin sets off lots of inflammatory reactions in the body that can irritate the blood vessels, perhaps contributing to atherosclerosis. It may well cause a lot of inflammatory reactions in the joints, the skin, the bronchial membranes, and other places. Plant oils have a substance called linoleic acid, and that gives rise to a substance called prostaglandin 1 and 3, and these are natural anti-inflammatories. They soothe inflammation in the body. So people who are on more vegetarian diets have much less problem with inflammatory diseases. Fundamental difference. You have no need to take animal fats into your bodies at all, and I really suggest you meet all your fat needs, and we need about 50 grams of fat a day. Get it from plant oils. You find it in grains have oils, legumes have oils, nuts, seeds. There's lots of oils available in the plant kingdom. That's where you should meet your oil needs, not from the fat of animals. The other thing about fats that make you fat, animal fats stick to you. When you eat fats of animals, those fats wash through your bloodstream, and as they cross as they flow through your fat stores under your skin, they stick there. You've got fat cells looking for pre-made fats, and you eat the fat of animals, they stick there. What you see hanging on this man's abdomen really isn't even his fat. That is the fat of all the cows and pigs and chickens and ducks and turkeys and other slow animals that were walking past his table when he had a fork in his hand. That is fat. The good news is, if he changes his diet and starts eating rice and vegetables and good plant-based foods, this stuff melts away, and people get leaner. It certainly happened to me. Remember the old nursery rhyme of Jack Sprat, who ate no fat, like to eat no lean? You always see Jack portrayed as a lean fella because he ate no animal fats. Mrs. Sprat's always seen sitting down. She has a hard time getting up. Her knees hurt, her blood pressure goes up, her diabetes gets out of control, so she's usually sitting down. The lesson of Jack Sprat was certainly not lost on me, because back in the operating room in Vancouver, here I was, and now I'm the anesthetist, and I'm standing at the head of the table looking down into the surgical wound, and I'm seeing all this fat in these people's arteries. And I did most of my growing up on a dairy farm in Wisconsin. I've been milking cows since I was 6, and driving tractors since I was 8. And not only was Mr. Phillips eating all these animals, but so was Dr. Clapper. And I was eating cheese and chickens and various other slow animals, and I was getting concerned. Not only should my patients not run all that fat through their bloodstream, but this old doc shouldn't either. So I said to myself, if you don't have to run all this fat through your bloodstream, must you? What is the nutrients in meats and dairy products that if you don't eat them, you're going to be deficient of? So I opened up my books on biochemistry and physiology and nutrition, and guess what I found? There is absolutely no nutrient, no protein, no vitamin, no mineral, no nothing found in meats and dairy products that you cannot obtain out of plant-based foods. Consider the biggest animals on the planet, elephants and buffaloes and giraffes. These are vegetarian animals. They grow to thousands of pounds of muscle and bone without ever eating cheeseburgers and pepperoni pizzas. We can do the same. We can certainly build our 140 pounds or whatever it is you need to build in your body. The human body has absolutely no nutritional requirements for animal flesh. If you open up Harrison's textbook of internal medicine, you will find no disease listed acute cow flesh deficiency. Okay? There is no chronic chicken flesh deficiency. There is no such disease because we have no need for these substances whatsoever. Animal fats, they clog you up and they make you fat. 2 good reasons not to eat them. Here's a couple of more. It seems to be fairly clear as study after study comes out that if you are eating large amounts of fats in your diet, you are significantly raising your risk for cancer. If you are a woman eating a lot of fat in your diet, and that's talking about the hidden fat in cheeses and meats, etc., you increase your risk of cancer of the breast. Here are some countries that are compared by how much fat is eaten versus how many women die of breast cancer. And you can see that the Americans and the Dutch, with their big dairy industries, lead the way in not only fat consumption, they lead the way in breast cancer deaths. Thailand is a Buddhist country. They eat very little meat and dairy products, and breast cancers are so rare there, if you find a case of it, you report it to grand rounds. This seems to be a disease of diet, of a high-fat diet. If I were a woman with breasts and I wanted to decrease my chances of getting breast cancer, I would get the fat out of my diet. And that includes excessive amounts of vegetable oil. You need a little bit of vegetable oil, but you don't want to slather 2 cups of corn oil over your spaghetti for any reason. Men are not spared the ravages of a high-fat diet either, because when a man eats lots of animal fats, those fats are turned into male hormones called androgens. And androgens stimulate the prostate gland to get big. In our society, when a man reaches 60 or 70 and his prostate gland gets big, his doctor puts his arm around the patient and says, well, George, that's just part of getting old, the prostate gland's getting big. No, it's not. That's 70 years of running androgen through that prostate gland. No wonder that gland gets big, and prostate cancer is the #1 killer of men. And if you compare countries of the world versus how much fat is eaten and how much men die of prostate cancer, sorts out just the same way. The more fat that is eaten in the country, the more the men die of prostate cancer. And again, it's a very rare disease in Thailand, where people eat rice and vegetables and traditional foods. So, animal fats. They clog you up, they make you fat, and they increase your risk for a number of types of cancers. There's 3 good reasons not to eat animal fats, and as I said, there's absolutely no reason to eat them ever. Now, I'm describing problems with eating animal flesh. They have too much fat, and that includes chicken and fish. Fish has a tremendous amount of fat and cholesterol in it, and chicken flesh is very fatty food. If you ever want to learn to make chicken soup, you ever see all that fat that rises up to the top there? Don't kid yourself that chicken is lean meat. It is not. There's just as much fat and cholesterol in chicken as there is in beef. Animal muscle is animal muscle, and when you eat it, it raises the level of fat in your blood, and you do not need it. There's another problem with eating animal flesh. It has too much protein. Now, when I was in medical school, I never heard the words too much protein. I thought the more protein, the better. I'm on a high protein diet, make them strong. Tain't so. You better believe there's such a thing called too much protein, and most North Americans suffer from it. First of all, what is protein? Protein is the building block material that you use to make the hard structures of your body. Your fingernails are made of protein, your hair is made of protein, your bones are made of protein. It's the brick of our bodies, a solid substance. Now, you don't need very much protein during the day. You only need about 30 grams of protein a day. That's the weight of 10 pennies, okay? Imagine 10 pennies in your hand, that's how much protein you need. But look how much protein the typical North American consumes. On a typical North American eating day, a typical American who has bacon and eggs for breakfast and a glass of milk, who has a cheeseburger and milkshake lunch, and has a beefsteak dinner with a glass of milk and some ice cream for dessert, is clipping along at 150 grams of protein. That is a 5-day supply of protein. That is too much protein. Why? Because your body can't store protein. You can store fat, you can store carbohydrates, you can't store protein. So what happens? Well, your liver starts breaking down that protein, and as it metabolizes it, it releases all sorts of toxic nitrogen-containing waste like urea and ammonia and amino acid fragments. And these have a detrimental effect on the body, because as all these amino acid wastes go through your kidneys, it makes you lose calcium out of your urine. Why does that happen? Because there's fundamental differences between animal protein and plant protein. And I'm talking about the protein in meats and dairy products. Animal proteins contains amino acids that have sulfur, and sulfur makes extra acid in the body. And as acids walk through the bone, they dissolve calcium out of the bones. Plants have much less acid. Animal protein is very concentrated. The muscle of an animal is the most concentrated protein on the planet, and so there's a big bolt of protein that goes into your bloodstream as soon as you eat it. Plant protein is mixed up with fiber. When you eat whole grain rice or whole grain barley, it takes hours for that to be absorbed into your bloodstream. The absorption time is much, much slower. So the less acid nature of plant protein and slower absorption rate means it's much gentler in the body, and it doesn't pull calcium out of your body. That's a very significant phenomenon. The phenomenon of protein pulling calcium out of your body is appropriately called protein-induced hypercalciuria, too much calcium going out in the urine. What I'm saying is, and it's well documented, when you eat a big bolt of animal protein, whether it be red meat or chicken or fish or even milk, the acid nature of the protein washes through the bones, dissolves the calcium, and goes out in the urine. And what I'm telling you is that every time you eat a piece of chicken, every time you eat a piece of fish, ladies, for the next 3 or 4 hours, you urinate calcium out of your body down the toilet. And the investigators who documented this many times clearly say that high protein diets cause a negative calcium balance, even in the presence of more than adequate dietary calcium. Even if you are taking calcium tablets and drinking milk, protein is such a potent yanker outward of calcium out of your body that you will not be able to keep up with the calcium loss. Does that ring a bell with anybody?
Not yet. Just a minute, I'll tell you when it's
They said that osteoporosis, thin, crumbly bones that fracture easily, would seem to be an inevitable outcome of continued consumption of a high-protein diet. In our society, we are told that the cause of osteoporosis is not chewing up enough calcium tablets or not drinking enough cow's milk. And you're really told to believe this. There's a lot of medical evidence that says this just is not so. And this was clearly shown, I feel, in a study that was released by Cornell University recently, done by Dr. Colin Campbell, where they investigated thousands of people in the Republic of China. And they found that in this country, essentially osteoporosis is unheard of. They don't get osteoporosis. And women make it into their 80s, having nursed 5 children, and they have nice, strong bones. And yet here is a country that consumes essentially no dairy products. The milk isn't available, the cows aren't available, the refrigeration isn't available. They get all their calcium out of grains and greens and fruits and vegetables, and they don't get osteoporosis because they are eating grains and vegetables, and it doesn't make them urinate out their calcium. But it's been clearly shown as the Chinese folks move to the cities, get more affluent, and start eating more meat in their diet, they start losing calcium, and then the osteoporosis appears. It's really becoming apparent that osteoporosis seems to be not so much a disease of calcium deficiency, it's a disease of protein excess. You see osteoporosis in the countries that consume the most protein. In the United States, in Scandinavia, in Europe, and in Australia. That's where you see osteoporosis. You don't see it in China, you don't see it in rural South America, you don't see it in rural Asia, where people are eating grains and vegetables. And I'll tell you, dairy products are no protection against osteoporosis because the Americans and the Canadians and the Scandinavians are the people who drink more milk and eat more cheese than anybody else on planet Earth, and they have the worst osteoporosis on the planet. And if dairy products protected you from osteoporosis, you wouldn't see it in North America. And you see just the opposite. Because there's so much protein in dairy products that it actually puts you.
Okay, you can turn the lights on. Okay, as I said, in my case, I went through that change, and I'm not perfect for sure, but I do believe that it's something for us to think about, and so I don't know if there's any questions. If not, in a moment we'll have our drawings, and then we'll let you go. I've appreciated y'all coming today. I hope this helps from an exercise standpoint, and maybe remind us of I'm definitely not perfect. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I'm a walking skeleton. But I know one thing, I feel good today, and that's all I can ask for each day is do the best we can. And folks, we can do everything right and still die. We understand that from any of these things. But I hope that this will help us remember the complex body that God made. When you start, I showed that illustration just simply from the lungs this morning. You can explain it to me on and on, but I cannot understand how oxygen goes out at the same time the carbon dioxide comes back through the same spot. But God made it, and we can be thankful how He's made our body. So, all right, question?
So for the lung health, how do you improve your lungs?
Do what?
How do we improve our lung health?
Well, number one, I started with exercise. What have you got? What we went through that process this morning. The oxygen goes through all parts of the lungs. Well, you're breathing it, right? But that's why breathing and deep breathing and this kind of thing is more effective as far as your body's concerned. You know what I'm saying? And remember, I did talk about your pulse rate, but that's a factor because of your heartbeat. That's my heart rate used to be. I didn't say this. I should have. My heart rate used to be 73. Today it's between 55 and 60. Wow. Is it because I walk a lot? Do what?
It's okay if it gets that low? 'Cause mine's always in the 50s.
I hope I'm all right. Mine's normally 60, but the other day it was down to 52. Now, you did bring it up. Too low or too high, there's an ideal figure somewhere in there that's best for you. You know what I'm saying? I've not done research on that, but from what I've read on it, that may vary from person to person. But that could change. Mine used to be 73, and I was very active in sports. I'm not as active today except the exercises I do, but I still feel good. I don't feel any different today than I did 30 years ago. And I can't explain it. That could change. And I don't want to make anybody feel bad if you're not feeling good, because I'm definitely not perfect. But I try to do the best I can on some of these things, just little things like blueberries. I mean, I make sure I eat a handful of blueberries in the morning, and I don't know if it works or not, but it seems to work. All right, are there any questions? How many of you are glad you stayed? I hope that this has not been too boring, and I hope it's helpful to at least make us think, can I do better? And then pray about it. Let the Lord guide you, And I am not here to make anybody feel guilty or anything else, because everybody, we all have our own decisions to make. All right, we need to do our drawing out of our little box. And then what I'm going to do is have prayer, and then you can come up and take whatever books, magazines you want. I didn't bring very many books, but there's a few up here. I would suggest, can the person tell me that somebody picked up the one on exercise? Are they still here, that person?
I did not. I haven't seen it.
Okay, somebody must have taken it that left. That's the one that is, folks, it is really, you can get these from the ABC. You can get them from the Atlanta ABC. The one on exercise is amazing. One of the best I've ever seen. All right, look at your tickets, the last 3 numbers. Now, when you come up, what I'm suggesting here, you can get anything you want later. This music tape is by Brenda McConville from Valdosta. She's been with me many times. I'm telling you, there's one song on there about the river, if nothing else, but it's really good. This one right here on diet is really good. This one, there's actually 2 of these that's kind of a mixture of things. And so I've got the biggest things, and since one is already gone, I guess we'll draw 1, 2, 3, 4 times. Now, and if you're drawn, pick up one of these, and then you can get more things, and then everybody else come up and take what you want, okay? And I would suggest don't try to take one of everything until everybody's had a chance, and then you can keep whatever you want to up here, okay? This one certainly is probably one of the best. And,
Yeah, that's a good one.
And then the spiritual books, you've already heard me talk about this. I think some of you weren't. This is the book that goes out when people take Bible research lessons. How many of you were not in here when I talked about this a few minutes ago? This is excerpts from Desire of Ages, and as I told stories about some of the pastors and so forth, and people had that book. All right, I think that's it. So let me have prayer, and then we'll have our drawing, okay? Heavenly Father, we thank you for the folk that stayed. They didn't have to do that, and we just thank you, Lord, we do thank you for the health message that you've given us, Lord. We know this. You made this body, so you know what's best for us. And, Lord, we live in a sinful world, and sometimes we want to do what we want to do. I just ask that you will bless and guide in each one of us to see if we could do better in some things in diet and exercise. Lord, we definitely do not want to judge anybody. We know that we're all sinful. That's got nothing to do with this situation. We're talking about the possibility of good health and bad health, or the negative and the positive effects depending on our diet. So again, Lord, we thank you for the information that you've given us, and we thank you for the research that's available for us. I ask that you'll bless this church, and Lord, changing it over. They've taken about 3,000 cards here to give out to people. Lord, I ask that every single one of these cards they've given will go to someone who's looking for truth. People who can find the truth right there on the internet Bible studies, or they can get it from written lessons. So bless the pastor, bless the leadership, and bless this church, Lord. Again, we thank you for the time in which we live. In Jesus' name, amen. Okay, she's going to reach in with her eyes closed and probably draw her own ticket. That's happened before.
No.
Last 3 numbers.
Okay, last 3 numbers, 448.
All right, 448. Come up quickly. All right, while she's 448.
It was mine.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Folks, you can see the box. That was
I'll
not,
do that again.
that was not planned. No, that wasn't, you
No,
know,
I'm not, no.
why, you know, it was in this whole box.
I know, but I didn't.
Go ahead, go ahead here, get what you
Oh,
want.
no, I'm good. Let somebody else have it.
Well, why?
432.
Right there.
Ah,
Okay, go ahead and draw the next one while they're coming up,
Okay.
quickly.
all right. Oh, sorry, too many. 444. Marie.
All right, third person. Come on, get whatever you want. Now, remember, just of these things right here, this, or these two or this, you want that? Okay, you wouldn't get what you want. Who, the next number, what?
Was 425.
I'm sorry.
This one's okay?
Yeah, sure. All right, they don't get it, draw another one.
Okay. 430.
4, 3, what?
430.
I call another one.
435.
She's got her hand up.
You guys got it.
Which one of these two would you like? Right here, one of these. You want this one or this one? Okay, she got that person. All right, last person.
427.
427. Okay, am I doing another? Somebody want this book? Raise your hand. I do. She got it first.
Oh, we both did. Okay, that it?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, y'all come on up. Thank y'all. Come up, take whatever you want. If you didn't get enough cards, or I will, Pastor, if you're still here, I will leave whatever you want me to leave as far as Bible lessons to give out or cards, okay? And if you ever want anything, call me. I will be back here. I normally don't go to 2 churches 1 year, but I will be back. And you might, folks, when I talk about last days, we're talking about things. Check it out yourself on the internet. It's amazing right now how the Protestant churches are reacting to Pope Leo's invitation.
Oh, I know, it's crazy.
It's crazy. And some of these organizations are already meeting with each other. Don't forget what the Bible says. The whole world will follow after the beast. Just come on up, take whatever you want. Thank y'all for coming. Thank y'all up on the rostrum for helping here. If y'all want to